What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 5HH Chapter 126 Ininkai Terumi Mei, 4th more seeking subscription. Except for Mr. Itachi, there are people who can use those eyes. The dried persimmon ghost dumplings who were playing against Terumi Mei not far away were also frightened. Also noticed the cross dart pattern in Uchiha Spring's eyes. Terumi Mei's face changed suddenly. Mangekyo Sharingan, didn't he say that he was burdened with her body, isn't it a big burden? Just as the silver-white skeleton giant was preparing to turn out the last moment of birth. Girl, don't use that. An electric light suddenly appeared, and at the moment of landing, it split the shell of Susanoo's barrier like a bullet that smashed the neck. Looking at the others, Susanoo, who was about to show up, has disappeared. Yèyuè Guāng was clutching Uchiha Quan's wrist, suppressing her burst of chakra. Yes, I'm sorry, Everbright. Uchiha Quan finally calmed down at this time, and the cross dart in his pupils turned back to a normal three-hooked jade. Then it returned to the normal black pupil. The last time she fought Shimura Danzo, she almost lost her composure. While evolving Susanoo into the third form, he also lost a lot of power. Divided by ordinary people's eyesight, there must be at least 600 degrees, right? After that, Yèyuè Guāng prohibited Uchiha Spring from using Mangekyo. You have no brothers or sisters to change eyes. My filial son, I haven't seen you in 5 years. Yèyuè Guāng turned his head to look at each other and said with a smile. Keep your life well and wait for my men to pick it up. Light. Yagura is controlled by Sharingan. In Akatsuki, there are people with Sharingan besides Itachi. Seeing Yèyuè Guāng brought, Terumi Mei hurriedly shouted. I know. Yèyuè Guāng said silently in his heart, but he nodded to show that he knew it. Let's go. Yèyuè Guāng turned around and motioned for the two women to follow. Don't kill us. Uchiha Itachi was startled, as if Yèyuè Guāng would let him and Hoshigaki Kisame go so easily. Why did I kill you? I have no grudges against you, and I even thank you a little bit, just like Sarutobi Hiruzen. Yèyuè Guāng mocked. Advertisement, if you didn't make Konoha so smoggy, how could I take it so easily? Like Sarutobi Hiruzen's group, Uchiha Itachi turned black when he heard Yèyuè Guāng's statement. What's more, I said just now. Keep your life and wait for my men to take it, until then, don't die. After leaving one last sentence, Yèyuè Guāng took Uchiha Quan and Terumi Mei and turned back towards Kirigakure. If two people go together, is there a chance? Hoshigaki Kisame was also deeply relieved, put Samahata back behind, walked to Uchiha Itachi and asked. Uchiha Itachi soon returned to his usual iceberg face. After shook his head and said that it was impossible, Uchiha tightened his eyebrows, and after a long time he exhaled a turbid breath. Go back first. He now has no idea what to do. Like Sarutobi Hiruzen, he always believed that everything he did was to protect Konoha and his younger brother. But now Konoha has become Yèyuè Guāng, or Cloud Shinobi's Konoha. Should I continue to guard it? Sasuke. The soul of Brokan broke out again. Perhaps, the younger brother is the only surviving value of Uchiha Itachi today. The number of Kirigakure remaining ninjas totals 1,856, including a large number of wounded. When Yèyuè Guāng returned to Kirigakure with Uchiha Quan and Terumi Mei, Bai had investigated the current situation of Kirigakure and reported it to Yèyuè Guāng. This is too little, right? Terumi Mei stared wide without being hidden by her bangs. She knew that after more than 10 years of influence in the Blood Mist Shinobi suffered heavy losses. But I never thought it would be so miserable, one of the 5 ninja villages. The number of ninjas is now less than 2,000. Hearing this number, Kakashi, Might Guy and others who had just experienced the Konoha destruction plan couldn't help but begin to sympathize with Mist Shinobi. It seems that Sunagakure, the bottom of the 5 ninja villages, can finally be replaced. Light, what do people do? Terumi Mei, who was still immersed in the joy of finally regaining his hometown after a lapse of 10 years, suddenly hugged Yèyuè Guāng's arm with tears and kept rubbing and acting like a baby in his pair of chariots. Yèyuè Guāng also looked helpless. What can I do? Advertisement people can't be changed. -0 seeking flowers. I can only blame Obito for making Kirigakure so miserable. Or is it that you, Terumi Mei, want to be big, mom and give birth to a shinobu village? White, Kimimaro, you too will stay by Ming's side to help her. The only thing Yèyuè Guāng can help Terumi Mei is to keep the 2 talents with cage-level potential, Bai and Kimimaro, with Terumi Mei. After all, during the 5 Shadows conference in the original work, the guards belonging to Terumi Mei were the most watery. Shiro and Kimimaro added 2 sturdy pillars to this shaky Kirigakure. You can give them more people, for example, give them the wooden golem. Terumi Mei became a stranger, almost hanging her whole body on Yèyuè Guāng, and said coquettishly. It's a big deal, do whatever you want. The crowd around who was watching consciously moved their eyes to the other side, and some people even left silently. I was afraid that I would hear other words about tigers and wolves, and Yèyuè Guāng would want to kill them. Yèyuè Guāng had a black line on his face and pinched the soft flesh on Terumi Mei's waist from behind. You were enough, you were greedy. Ming. Terumi Mei's cheeks puffed up on both sides of the anger. However, when thinking of a certain plan for the future, he quickly swallowed the breath back into his stomach. Humph, Just look around. After seeing this Nizi, her mood changed so quickly. Yèyuè Guāng, who was watching, was stunned for a moment, only hoped that she would not come up with any inexplicable mods. Master Everbright, the latest information just came. Rock Shinobi is still crossing the sea to the east, coming in towards the country of water. At this time, Wooden Golem suddenly rushed to report to Yèyuè Guāng. Yèyuè Guāng patted his forehead and almost forgot about it. The leader is Onoki himself? Yèyuè Guāng asked rhetorically. Yes, Iwagakure's number 2 powerhouse, Five Tails Jinchuriki Han. As explained by Wooden Golem, a few years ago, Four Tails Jinchuriki had a disagreement with Onogi. After leaving Iwagakure, Han became the only Jinchuriki with Iwagakure's strength second only to Onogi. Although he is not the perfect Jinchuriki that can completely control the Tail Beast, he can also use the Tail Beast. Part of the power. Suddenly, Terumi Mei's eyes lit up. Again, chapter 127. Do you still have to earn a lottery after crossing? 5th more seeking subscription? What's the situation? As the eldest son of Onoki and also a popular candidate for Tsuchikage in the future, Huang too led 1,000 rock shinobi army including 5 Tails Jinchuriki Han to the northern border of water country. Just ashore, in the surrounding rainforest, there were countless ninja soldiers wearing Cloud Shinobi, Konoha, and Mist Shinobi forehead protectors, and a total of thousands of ninja soldiers came up against them. This scene frightened Huang too and his rock shinobi army. Was ambush? But if it's just being ambushed by a village, it doesn't matter. There are 3 shinobu villages in the ambush army. What is this? Huang too couldn't understand the situation at the moment. They just want to imitate Cloud Shinobi's approach to Konoha, stalking the wool. How did it become besieged by 3 shinobu villages? However, in the face of the 683 enemy army who held kunai and released ninjutsu to rush towards him, Rock Shinobi didn't even think about it. The only thing I can do now is resistance. Block them. Huang too waved and shouted. Rock Shinobi quickly recovered from their consternation. Kunai was pulled out one after another, and Earth Style was used to block it. Reikari exploded in his right hand and shuttled around the battlefield. Many blood wine splashed from the enemy's body was on his face, soaking Sharingan with the left eye. First Mist Shinobi, now Rock Shinobi again? This is true. Kakashi is in a mixed mood now. Mist Shinobi was the village that killed Lin Yiyuan, his classmate. No, it was killed, to be precise. It was him who killed Lin Yiyuan. On the other hand, Iwagakure killed his other companion, the village of Uchiha Obito. In just one day, he continuously confronted these 2 villages. It was equivalent to forcing him to think of the memories he didn't want to touch twice in a row. The leader, Huang too, is the son of 3rd Tsuchikage Onoki, and one of the popular candidates for 4th Tsuchikage in the future. If you catch him, you should be able to hit Onoki hard. Having put on the same Mist Shinobi Ninja Anbu mask as the original, Shiro, the captain of Mist Shinobi Anbu, said. In this way, Mist Shinobi's current financial crisis should be resolved. After speaking, Bai took out 3,000 needles, pinched them between his fingers, and rushed straight to the Lois. Light, can you help people catch 5 tails? Terumi Mei shook Yèyuè Guāng's arm and said coquettishly. Advertisement, why don't you catch it yourself? For a country in Naruto World, the tail beast is Zhang's trump card to intimidate other countries. Kirigakure, who lost 3 tails and faced a serious lack of combat power. As the new Mizukage, Terumi Mei would want to take the 5 tails that he sent to his own home, which is a matter of course. But with Terumi Mei's current strength, coupled with the scene including Kimimaro, Bai, Wooden Golem, Gaara and other elites, she can do it herself, right? Are you addicted to acting like a baby? This is your betrothal gift. You don't even give the betrothal gift. How do you marry me? Terumi Mei said with no mouth. What? Even Yèyuè Guāng was taken aback. Marry you? Where and where is this? Didn't I say that? I can only do that on the day I marry me. I plan to announce this when I officially take over as Mizukage. Terumi Mei's smile revealed a bit of skill. In fact, as early as 6 years ago, when the 2 people determined their relationship. Terumi Mei has this thought. Although Yèyuè Guāng has studied all over his body, he was even the first to help Yèyuè Guāng with his mouth. However, for the last step, she insisted on waiting until that night to do it. This is why she has not been involved in the jealous battle between Samui and Mabui. You are on the 2nd floor, thinking that I'm Terumi Mei on the 1st floor? Actually, Terumi Mei is in the atmosphere. Do you still engage in Gongdu pediatrics? Terumi Mei smiled, and the old lady got married directly. What? Don't you want to marry me? Seeing Yèyuè Guāng fell into a sluggish state, Terumi Mei stared wide-eyed and asked angrily. It doesn't matter if I get married or not, but Samyi and the others have to blow up. Yèyuè Guāng stroked his head with a headache. Alas, it doesn't matter, true warriors dare to face the real Shira field. By Wooden Golem, Gaara, you 2 step back, Yèyuè Guāng shouted. Advertisement Wooden Golem and Gaara, who are dealing with 5 tails Jinchuriki, heard the words. Immediately he stopped releasing the hands of ninjutsu, and quickly stepped back several steps. Yèyuè Guāng walked up like a stroll in a leisurely courtyard, and suddenly waved and flicked his finger. The arc that emerged from his body suddenly expanded 1,000 times. Turning into 6 roaring thunder dragons, from front to back, left to right, up and down, the long open blood basin with no dead ends bite towards the Han in the center. Unexpectedly, without Jian, he used such a fierce lightning style. As the third ninja war, participated in leading 10,000 rock shinobi ninja army to encircle and suppress, and killed the leader of Third Raikage alive. After seeing Yèyuè Guāng's trick, Huang too suddenly felt that the Third Raikage, which left him a dream demon that he will never forget, seemed to be nothing terrible. It's all gone. Am I still busy with such a mess as the bride price? Yèyuè Guāng complained to himself inwardly, but he knew in his heart that Terumi Mei just wanted to see what she could do for her. Even if she can do it herself, she just wants to see Yèyuè Guāng do it for her. This is the same as the saying, "I don't want a gift," on the lips of a woman in the previous life, but what she actually thinks in her heart is, "Why don't you take the initiative to give me a gift?" This is what a woman thinks, and everyone who has been in love understands it. So don't talk about dog authors. How can women have readers cute? Roar. Just when everyone thought Han was about to be torn to pieces by Thunder Dragon. The expressions of the 6 Thunder Dragons faintly showed painful colors, and they swelled slightly, as if they were about to be unable to suppress the target below. Then, accompanied by a roar, the Thunder Dragon 2.3 were squeezed and exploded, accompanied by the unknown blood-red chakra, a pure white behemoth with a dolphin-like head and a horse with antlers, roaring out. Roaring glared at everyone on the battlefield. In the end, he focused his gaze on Yèyuè Guāng. Appeared, completely. For Gaara, who is not yet able to manipulate the tail beast, such a scene is still very shocking. Moreover, the tails of 5 tails are proficient, and among the 9 big-tailed beasts, they are considered intermediate and superior. However, Yèyuè Guāng moved his fingers slightly. The dark clouds in the sky condensed extremely quickly, and a giant unicorn beast with a grin fell. Clothing teeth. 5 tails Kokuo's neck is like a lion preying on elk, biting the neck of its prey. Prepare to kill each other and have a good meal, Gaara. This 5 tails is kneeling too fast, right? Chapter 128. This Mizukage turned his arm out, 6th more seeking subscription. Wow, the man who was bitten by the unicorn on his neck, to be precise, should be 5 tails Kakuo struggling hard, trying to break free of the unicorn. After seeing that only the body cannot break free, the body surface began to rise with high temperature and white mist, as if the exhaust gas of a rocket was overflowing. Boil style? Yèyuè Guāng raised his eyebrows slightly. Except for 9 tails, which are pure chakra attributes, all other tail beasts have unique chakra attributes. 1 tail of magnet style, the 2nd tail of fire style, 3 tails of water style, 4 tails of lava style, and 5 tails, it is boil style. A ninja hybrid combat type that raises the speed and power to the limit by erupting boiling steam. Be quiet, I will find you a suitable new Jinchuriki. Yèyuè Guāng answered casually, turning his back to the many subordinates behind him. Seal class, take 5 tails out of this cargo for me. As a Cloud Shinobi Village that can cultivate 2 perfect Jinchuriki. Naturally, there is no need to say more about the importance of 10 Jinchuriki. Many Cloud Shinobi wear sealing techniques. It is to take countermeasures as soon as the tail beast runs away. The lowest face that was obstructed by Bai was shocked. The wool is not thin, and you have to lose Jinchuriki. He can't afford the loss, at least let Han break through. Huang too gritted his teeth secretly, and suddenly slapped his hands on the ground. Earth-style Earth Flow Great Wall. Compared with the Earth Flow Wall, the Earth-style wall has a wider range and more exaggerated defense. At the same time, the Cloud Shinobi sealed ninjas who have caught up are isolated from 5 tails. Run! Han! Run! Huang too shouted loudly. Boil-style weird power. There seemed to be countless thrusters bursting out of 5 tails' skins, spewing out a lot of steam, expanding the power to the limit. Finally forcibly got rid of the shackles of the unicorn. Advertisement however, Han is not perfect Jinchuriki. When he entered this mode, he had lost his mind, although taking advantage of this gap, struggling to get rid of the unicorn. But instead of running, he smashed the wall blocking in front of him with the double corners of his head. Like dewdrops, small dark purple and black high-density chakra spheres gathered in front of 5 tails' mouth. And quickly condensed into a larger chakra sphere. Master ever, he wants to use tailed beast bomb. Shouted by Wooden Golem. After all, the skin surface quickly rose up with the red chakra coat, obviously wanting to enter the tail beastization to resist. Sucker punch. In the face of cohesion, tailed beast bombs 5 tails, Yèyuè Guāng only raised his head and gave a 4-character evaluation. The violent thunder current is generated on the soles of the feet, forming a pillar of thunder to the sky. The endless iron sand and dust in the underground and in the atmosphere adhered to the surface of the thunder pillar, quickly shaping it into the form of a ghost and god. Appeared again. Thunder Giant. Many of the people present have met once during Konoha Chunun's exam. But Rock Shinobi and Mist Shinobi's ninjas met for the first time, and they were shocked. Is this also ninjutsu? Exaggerated, right? The Thunder Giant squeezed the dolphin head of 5 tails, which was still condensing the tailed beast bomb, and buckled it to the ground. The tailed beast bomb condensed in front of the mouth was naturally broken up before launch. Boom, the whole earth was shaken. Some ninjas with less strength even fell directly to the ground. I didn't wait for 5 tails, who was so slammed to stare at Venus, to recover. Yèyuè Guāng controlled the Thunder Giant and pulled its head up, buckled, lifted, and buckled. It's like running away from the first machine. I don't know how many times it continued intermittently, until the layman who smashed it could see that this tail beast, which looked like a fusion of dolphin horse, had no resistance. Yèyuè Guāng then let it go. Seal class, do it. Yèyuè Guāng dismissed the Thunder Giant with a look of disgust. Learn. A crowd of Cloud Shinobi who had learned the sealing technique hurriedly gathered around, formed a circle and began to prepare the Han to pull the tail beast away. Advertisement. It's a pity that Ma Bui is not here, she is an expert in this field. Don't let them succeed. Huang too recovered from the shock of the Thunder Giant's spike in the 5 tails, and shouted loudly. However, no one has acted. Astonished, Huang too turned his head and was surprised to find the thousands of rock shinobi ninja army led by him. Either he was killed in battle, or he was taken prisoner by the Big Five. Call out. In the Lois, a few thousand needles flew through the air. At the moment of his relaxation, he accurately hit a few key acupoints. Huang too felt a burst of numbness all over his body. After 2 steps, his knees fell to the ground uncontrollably. How much is 3rd Tsuchikage willing to spend to redeem you? I hope it will be enough to help Kirigakure tide over the difficulties. Bai wandered over and raised his hand. Several Wurin under his command hurriedly stepped forward, tying the son of Tsuchikage with 5 flowers. It has ended? Is this the strength of the person who captured Konoha in one day? Can Mist Shinobi 683 village really walk through the darkness of so many years in the bleeding fog? The many mist ninjas who were terrified after seeing 5 tails want to launch tailed beast bomb, just came back to their senses. 5 tails was suppressed. Huang too, the leader of the rock shinobi invasion army, was captured together. The reversal of the battle situation was so big and the speed was so fast that all of them were caught off guard. Konoha's ninja was calmer. After all, they had only seen it once not long ago. That's great, Kirigakure will be able to live a normal life in the future. Shojiro almost burst into tears with excitement. It seems that I have seen Kirigakure, who has been shrouded in the shadow of the blood mist for more than 10 years, and now it is finally about to clear the sky. Baikugan was taken away, and the bandaged Cyan frowned in his right eye. His attitude is not as optimistic as Chojiro. Yagura is replaced by Terumi Mei, who has a double blood limit, right? 10 years ago, I heard something about her. After leaving Kirigakure for so many years, have you always used Yèyuè Guāng as a backer? Can such a Mizukage manage Kirigakure wholeheartedly? Recalling her intimate behavior with Yèyuè Guāng, Ching can't help but worry about whether Terumi Mei will turn his arms out in the future. Chapter 129. The man in charge of the chains, first more seeking subscription. In a dark cave, a huge golem opened its mouth in its blood basin, and its fingers stretched fiercely, as if to swallow everything it saw in front of it. Ghetto statue. At this moment, the 10 members of Akatsuki's organization are standing on top of the 10 fingers of Outer Dao Duxiang. In the form of the magic lantern technique, transport the 3 tails in the transferred citrus orange Yagura into the golem. When the scarlet chakra unique to the tail beast in Yagura's body was completely absorbed by the ghetto statue, the weak and thin body puffed and fell heavily to the ground. At the same time, one of the eyes on the face of the golem suddenly opened and the viewer shuddered. The first one is so troublesome to get it. It seems that it will be more difficult in the future. Hoshigaki Kisame couldn't help but vomit. At that time, if Yèyuè Guāng intends to make a move, he and Itachi wouldn't be able to come back for fear. Just now my clone sent back news that Kirigakure's affairs are over. White Zetsu, who occupies the left half of his body, suddenly said. Tsuchikage Onoki's son, Huang too, was captured. It seems that Mist Shinobi is planning to use him to hit Rock Shinobi hard. It's shrewd. Why don't we do the same? Kakuzu went straight to reveal the word, envious. Tiandao Pain didn't bother to pay attention to this money fan, and asked coldly. This is not important, the key is what's the situation with the tail beast. Following Huang too to participate in this operation, the tail beast in 5 tails Jinchuriki Han was taken out by Yèyuè Guāng. Compared with him, he would choose a trusted subordinate and become the new Jinchuriki. White Zetsu continued. 1 tail Jinchuriki Gaara, 2 tails Jinchuriki has 2 people from Wooden Golem and 9 tails Jinchuriki Uzumaki Naruto, both currently in Konoha. For the time being, it's better not to hit Konoha. It is better to target those Jinchuriki who are alone. Conan, who is a flower of Akatsuki, said in an indifferent voice. Eat persimmons and pick up a soft pinch, can't be wrong. 4 tails Jinchuriki Lao Zi, 6 Jinchuriki Bubbles, these 2 are both wandering ninjas, so you can start with. White Zetsu grinned. 6 tails was shot by myself, 4 tails words. After thinking about it for a while, Tiandao Pain turned to look at Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame, and said. The other party is said to be a user of lava style, you should restrain him, Kisame, and he is not perfect Jinchuriki. Mangekyo of Itachi can also play a big role. I see. Hoshigaki Kisame responded. Uchiha Itachi, yeah. 7 tails is a ninja from Takigakura village. This kind of small country is not to be feared. Advertisement. Kakuzu's gaze turned slightly, and it was clear that Takigakura was his hometown. But when he started, he wouldn't care about this kind of thing. The only thing you can trust is money. No, even if it is a small country, it will be troublesome if it attracts attention. Conan rejected. The current goals are 4 tails and 6 tails. Although Kakuzu was quite displeased, he did not dare to refute publicly in the face of Conan, the superficial deputy leader. This meeting is just like that, disbanded, Heavenly Dao Pain announced coldly. Take the lead offline. The land of the earth, Iwagakure. Master Tsuchikage, Mist Shinobi asked us for a ransom of 10 billion taels, look. Jonin Wanya of Rock Shinobi asked Onogi with a bitter expression. 10 billion taels. Why don't they grab it? He slapped the office desk hard, and Onogi was about to explode. Why did Cloud Shinobi get Konoha? I, Rock Shinobi, just want to plant Kirigakure wool so big. The only Jinchuriki was robbed and demanded a sky-high ransom. Then old man, are you going to die for your father? Without paying any respect, Hestu, who was sitting at the desk, half squinted his eyes and looked unkind. Oyemu gritted his teeth. Right now, Rock Shinobi's overall strength is far superior to Mist Shinobi. If you change to the general situation, he can mobilize the army to go to the water country to deter Mist Shinobi. But this time it is not just Mist Shinobi. There are also Cloud Shinobi, and even Konoha and Sand Shinobi. According to the information that Onoki got, how powerful is Terumi Mei, who is about to be promoted to the new Mizukage and the man behind her? Do you like her or like her? This question is not important at the moment. The point is that right now, the situation in Iwagakure, and even the entire land country, is very dangerous. In addition to them, 4 of the other 5 countries, 4 large-scale ninja villages, can be described as a group. Cloud Shinobi, Konoha, Mist Shinobi, Sand Shinobi. There seems to be a chain linking the 4 villages together. And the man holding this chain is Yèyuè Guāng, master. Just when Onoki was having a headache for his son's situation in Iwagakure's future, Akazu, a guard and disciple, ran in with his bloated body. What's wrong? Advertisement. Onoki reluctantly suppressed his irritability, raised his eyes and asked. Invitation. Akato shook the letter in his hand and walked over. Invitation. What invitation? When Onoki asked, Akato put down the letter in his hand. There are black soil on both sides of Onoki, and Wanya and Rock Shinobi were surprised when he saw this. 3 invitations. The headings written on the envelope are 5th Mizukage Succession Ceremony Invitation Letter. 5th Kazekage Succession Ceremony Invitation Letter. 5th Hokage Succession Ceremony Invitation Letter. My mother. This is too exaggerated, right? No big or small black soil took the lead to open the 3 invitations. Fortunately, although they are all invitations to the new film's succession ceremony. But the time is different. The first succession ceremony held as Mizukage, 5th Mizukage Terumi Mei. Then 1 month later, 5th Kazekage Yekang. 1 month later, it will be 5th Hokage Yèyuè Hinata. This arrangement is very unique. It is held every other month. It seems to be a deliberate arrangement to make time for the officials of various countries participating in the succession ceremony. Wang Qian is good. The 3 newly appointed films all have one characteristic in common. They are all female. Of course, this also counts as one. But what is really striking in common is one. They are all related to Yèyuè Guāng. Needless to say, Yèyuè Hinata bears the same surname as Yèyuè Guāng, and has also learned to be known as the strongest Raikage. 3rd Raikage's ninjutsu Hell Thrust. It is self-evident that the relationship with Yèyuè Guāng is extraordinary. Yi Kang, many people in the ninja world thought she died many years ago. But I didn't expect to die and be resurrected. Moreover, it is rumored that in the battle of Cloud Shinobi's raid on Konoha, she appeared as the captain of Cloud Shinobi's Anbu. And Terumi Mei, before this, ninja thought she was a ninjutsu master in the new generation of Cloud Shinobi. But who would have thought that her true identity was actually the neighbor of Mist Shinobi? It's too grassy, and these 3 women, 2 women, 1 girl, and the same man behind them. It is Yèyuè Guāng, Chapter 130. Love Brain Terumi Mei evolves. Marriage Mad Terumi Mei, 2nd more seeking subscription. The country of water, Kirigakure, in the highest meeting room of the administrative building. Sitting on the main seat, Terumi Mei looked at the members of the Mist Shinobi highest decision-making team round 1. White, Kimimaro. No, this is too shabby, right? Terumi Mei murmured inwardly. Originally Ching was considered Kirigakure's veteran qualification. But his position was that he was once a member of Yuanqi's group, and the decision-making group could not accommodate his position. As a result, the only people Terumi Mei can trust now are Bai and Kimimaro. There are only 2 large meeting rooms left. Is this still one of the 5 great Shinobu villages? Although 10 years have passed, he finally regained his hometown. But now Terumi Mei is very tired. At the same time, the hatred of Akatsuki in his heart is even more serious. The persecution of Kirigakure is here. Damn, Akatsuki. Onoki has sent his granddaughter Black Earth to send the ransom, and we have returned the hostage Lois and invited them to participate in your succession ceremony, Lord Mizukage. Bai Chengli reports. This indemnity is mainly used for the reconstruction of Kirigakure and encouraging people to send their children to ninja school for learning. When it comes to the succession ceremony, Terumi Mei's bitter melon face finally showed a smile, and she looked forward to it. Great. Let's get started. Bai Weibao's words were abruptly interrupted, looking at Terumi Mei, who looked like a girl with a spring look, embarrassed and didn't know how to communicate. Kimimaro sat silently and did not comment on this. After scratching his head, Bai barely suppressed the embarrassment in his heart, and then said, "The invitation has been sent out, and the succession ceremony is still 1 week away. I propose to the ever-bright master that I can solve one more thing during this period. What's up? Terumi Mei, who has evolved from a love mind to a marriage freak, noticed the seriousness of the white face, and knew that it might not be a trivial matter. Quickly suppressed those careful thoughts in his heart, and asked solemnly. The new Jinchuriki of 5 tails. Bai opened his mouth slightly and spit out a word. The candidate is. The pupils in Terumi Mei's eyes condensed slightly, but he had already guessed it vaguely. Bai also nodded, turning his gaze to the last person in the meeting room. Under the supervision of Yèyuè Guāng and Mangekyo holder Hitaki Kakashi, the transfer ceremony of 5 tails Jinchuriki was completed. What? Advertisement Q Uchiha Kwan is also the owner of Mangekyo Sharingan, why not participate? It was not because Yèyuè Guāng was afraid that the girl's eyes were really blind, so he let Wu Wakai replace her. Anyway, this Mangekyo is blind and has another eye. There were no accidents in the ceremony. 5 tails Kakuo was successfully extracted, basically, from the body of the former Jinchuriki Han. The new 5 tails Jinchuriki Kagaya Kimimaro is born. The world has changed so much without knowing it. When I saw Yu hung with the face of Otsutsuki Sharon, he had become Kimimaro of Jinchuriki. Yèyuè Guāng couldn't help but sighed. Who can think that Kimimaro, who is so bleak as far as he pays attention to death, will become Jinchuriki? Who would have thought that the current situation of the ninja world has become like this? Suddenly, Kimimaro let out a painful cry and fell to his knees. The crimson chakra rose suddenly, and swiftly spawned 5 tails dancing with the wind behind him. 5 to 5. Yèyuè Guāng shouted. My name is Kakashi. Kakashi spit out with embarrassment, but he quickly lifted the forehead protector that was blocking his left eye, and Mangekyo Sharingan illusion was activated. Quickly use illusion skills to make Kimimaro, who was almost outrageous, fall asleep. Call. Kakashi let out a long breath and put down the forehead protector again. It seems that it will take a long time to perfect the strength of the master tail beast. Yèyuè Guāng looked at Kimimaro lying on the ground and shouted again. Carry him back. Kirigakure, after more than 10 years of hell like bloody fog, gradually became like an ordinary village. The streets that were originally closed have gradually become lively. 1 month later, the atmosphere in the whole village became more enthusiastic than ever. Those Kirigakure people who had experienced rain in the blood mist finally showed a smile again on their faces. Passing through the streets, you can hear the villagers' discussions such as, New Mizukage Lord, Mist Shinobi's new era, finally a good life, and so on. Just like the final of Konoha Chunan's exam 2 months ago. The dignitaries and rich people from all over the world have come to Kirigakure one after another. They all received an invitation letter from the new Mizukage succession ceremony. Face is still to be given. More importantly, they are very clear. Advertisement: who is the man standing behind the new Mizukage? Although the current status is very different from when it was in Cloud Shinobi Village. But the relationship between Hinata and Hakura is still extraordinary, and they also came to Kirigakure from Konoha and San Shinobi respectively. Prepare to congratulate Terumi Mei on taking over as 5th Mizukage. Of course, Terumi Mei will also attend the succession ceremony of Fukiage Hakura and Naruto Hinata. Relations with courtesy. Sister Yi Kang, no, Master Fengying, it's been a long time since I saw you. When greeting Yekuro with Konkuro and Tamari with his 2 guards, Hinata almost called the wrong name. Let's use the old name, call me, Master Fengying, or something, it feels rusty, let alone I am not yet. Yi Kang said with a rare smile on his face, then Yi Kang's sister can call me as before. Hinata replied cutely. Tamari and Konkuro behind Yi Kang are still a little trembling. If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, you can imagine this girl who looks soft and waxy with such terrifying power. In the war that took place in Konoha 2 months ago, they all saw Hinata almost hit 3rd Hokage with their own eyes. Sister, it started. At this moment, Hyuga Hinata, who was following Hinata, shouted excitedly. Everyone turned around. I saw a graceful figure in the middle of the top floor of the Mizukage building. Like the original image, Tinling has already had more hats marked with the word, water. And beside him, there was a man who was like Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, who exuded unparalleled deterrence just standing. Standing quietly beside that shadow. When Terumi Mei announced loudly that he was Kirigakure's 5th Mizukage, and made a declaration that he will lead the village through the shadows of the bleeding fog, and will surely lead Mist Shinobi into the era of peace. The people of Mist Shinobi who have been devastated by the bloody rule of Yagura, Uchiha Obito, for more than 10 years. They were all excited and cheered, and even many people burst into tears. Below Hinata, Yekura, Samui, Uchiha Kwan and other companions who have been with Cloud Shinobi Village for many years applauded. However, at this moment, Terumi Mei suddenly smiled even more. There is one more thing to announce to everyone. Everyone's applause was stagnant, and they looked forward to what Terumi Mei would say next. Terumi Mei suddenly jumped into Yèyuè Guāng's arms and stood on her toes in front of the tens of thousands of people on the scene. The silent atmosphere of death lasted more than half a minute. Terumi Mei put down her toes and said with a sweet smile. Chapter 131 The Most Angry Time, 3rd More Seeking Subscription. When the dignitaries and tycoons of various countries leave the country of water, they are all thinking about a problem. Did you come to attend Mizukage's succession ceremony, or did you come to the engagement banquet? Forget it, they have no right to interfere with this kind of housework anyway. Next month and next month are 5th Kage and 5th Hokage succession ceremonies? There are 3 movie substitutions in the Roki. In this sensitive period, those in power, must also be on guard. Mizukage office. Terumi Mei Chungfeng triumphantly thought about whether to marry Martin should wear a traditional kimono or a Western-style wedding dress. She prefers wedding dresses, and she feels that matches her own temperament. Boom. The door was pushed open from outside. It's been a long time, Ming. No, it should be Master Mizukage. Terumi Mei recovered from her conjecture, raised her eyes to look at the person who came, and smiled and stood up and said, Samui, it's been a long time since I saw you. I want to kill me. Really, I don't miss you at all, Sammy said coldly with one hand on his hips. To be honest, she didn't like each other very much in Cloud Shinobi Village before, but she was not repulsive. Because Terumi Mei did not act abnormally, but she didn't expect this Hu Meizi's face to be calm. In fact, it has not been heard for 10 years, and it is a blockbuster. She stole the house directly to her, play the trump card of marriage in one step. Terumi Mei embraced the moon in front of Hungarian. Although it might be a cup smaller than Samui, it was scary enough. That's okay. I will still invite you on the day of the wedding. After all, we are friends who have been together for 10 years. Terumi Mei put her cheek in one hand and smiled dignifiedly like a winner. Sam Yi's fair face is full of iron and blue. Originally, her personality is not like Haruno Sakura or Yamanaka Ino's personality that likes to tear. What's more, she can't tear Terumi Mei, humph. After a long silence, Sam hummed heavily and turned to leave. Why are you still staying here? After all, it is not the peach blossom dead caused by that B********** D Yèyuè Guāng. Find the B******* D yourself. I would be happy to break up. Facing the back of Sam Yi's departure, Terumi Mei added another word not to mention it. An angry Sam Yi almost drew his sword and fight her to death. But thinking of the difference in combat power between the two sides, alas, forget it. Advertisement, humph, Yèyuè Guāng is in the residence of Miss Shinobi. Hinata also made her cheeks bulging like a frog, and her cute little face almost didn't write the words, I'm angry, on her face. With Hinata's character, there are not many things that make her angry. Terumi Mei announced her marriage in public, which is one of them. Fortunately, Hinata is really the type of girl next door that is easy to meet. In other words, it's good to cheat and coax. Although it took a little effort, it was still coaxed. But Yi Kang, who is a strong woman, is more troublesome. When I saw Terumi Mei forcing Yèyuè Guāng in front of tens of thousands of people, she also announced the good news of her marriage. The face is green. Without a word, he returned to the Land of Wind with Kankuro and Tamari as his entourage. Claimed to prepare for Feng Ying's succession ceremony 1 month later. But even Tamari, Kankuro, who are outsiders, and even Gaara who are not very sensitive to such things. You can feel the fire in Yi Kang's heart. On the way back to the Kingdom of Wind, the two dared not say a word. Yèyuè Guāng, after finally coaxing Hinata, let her and Hanabi go to play together. A familiar anger surged into my ears. Yèyuè Guāng turned over by Byakugan, and sighed secretly that the Lord still came. When was the last time Sam Yi was so angry? Yèyuè Guāng recalled a little. I remember it was the first time for two people when it was 15 years old. No, to be precise, it was Sam Yi's first time. Yèyuè Guāng can only be said to be the first time in this world. At that time, Yèyuè Guāng was so excited that he couldn't take it anymore, regardless of his first taste. It made her eat in the pond for Yèyuè Guāng to feed her for the next week. I remember that was the worst time Samui got angry. But this time I am afraid it is more serious. But at that time, Samui's cup count could be described as 1 model per day. It's like blowing up a balloon. The feeling of Yèyuè Guāng as a participant is nothing to say. -0 seeking flowers. It's off topic. Uchiha Kwan, who was guarding the door, saw Sammy's angry expression like this. Frightened and quickly stepped back to let the door open. Advertisement, Samui, oh, what is so angry? Seeing that the anger on the opponent's face was about to turn into a real flame, Yèyuè Guāng put on an expression of ignorance and pulled her into his arms. Humph. Sam Yi pushed the opponent's Yu Shang hard, and then came down several times, but the opponent did not move. I have no choice but to give up. Awesome, when did you guys and dogs get better? Sam asked with an indifferent expression on his face. With Samui's personality, he actually used the term, dogman and woman. It seems to be really angry. However, according to Yèyuè Guāng's inference, Sam Yi might have been stunned by Terumi Mei before coming. That's why the anger is so big. It's horrible, don't you know how to fight? Just when Uchiha Spring was about to bug her, an immature voice came. Uchiha Kwan turned around and was taken aback. I saw Yèyuè Hinata and Hyuga Hanabi turning back at some point, and they were shrinking at the door. Hanabi also poked a small hole in the paper door with his little finger, and put his sneaky eyeballs up. What are you doing? Uchiha Kwan asked angrily and funny. Shush. Hanabi firmed up his index finger, placed it in the center of his mouth, and asked in a low voice. Sister Kwan, can't you see? What am I looking at? Uchiha Izumi turned over. Byakugan refused. 5 seconds later. There was another shadow in front of the small hole. 3 pairs of thief eyes were on the paper window, and a nail-sized hole looked in. Yèyuè Guāng said, whether there is a problem with your 3 brains. Won't you poke 2 more holes? Of course, Yèyuè Guāng has no intention of worrying about these 3 girls now. Yèyuè Hinata, Hyuga Hinata, Uchiha Spring. The 3 Meng sisters exchanged glances and then reached an agreement. Keep watching. Chapter 132 3 New Female Movies, 4th More Seeking Subscription. Are you really going to marry that woman? When Yèyuè Guāng achieved the same impressive results as the national football team, Sam Yi fell into his arms like a pile of slime. But he still did not forget to stare at Yèyuè Guāng with eyes full of resentment. You're right, don't you, Da Fang? Samui. You have to think of a vocabulary to scold this B***************, the kind that is cruel enough. Wait online, hurry. But let's be angry, Samui doesn't seem to be so angry. How scumbag this B********** is, can Sam Yi not know? If you really want to be angry, you can wait till today. Speaking directly, Sam Yi needs him to express his attitude more. In fact, due to her personality, it is possible to break up with Yèyuè Guāng in a fit of anger or to make a clean break. But Samui also understands one thing. That, 687, means that after separating from Yèyuè Guāng, I am afraid that I will be a widow in my life. The reason is simple. Her relationship with Yèyuè Guāng used to be known to everyone in Cloud Shinobi Village. Now that the reputation of this guy has risen like a rocket, I'm afraid everyone in the ninja world knows it. If I separate from him, who dares to pick it up? Do you dare to approach Yèyuè Guāng's woman, even the predecessor? That can only illustrate one problem, don't want to live anymore. Sammy also knew that he had been tied to this B************ for the rest of his life. Snapped. Thinking of this, Sam slapped Yèyuè Guāng with enthusiasm. FK. Where are you shooting? Be careful that the happiness of the rest of your life is gone. Yèyuè Guāng was anxious and ruined his way outside. The silly girl trio finally removed their eyes from the small hole in the paper door. To die. Hurry up. Even Hinata almost fainted in shame. She did listen to the corner many times. Advertisement. But live broadcast, this is the first time, 1 month later. It is almost repeating the 5th Mizukage succession ceremony of Kirigakure, the country of water. The succession ceremony of 5th Kazekage was held in Sanagakure, the country of wind. Representatives from various countries looked at standing on top of the Fungying building. Compared to Terumi Mei, she is a bit older, but she is also an extraordinary and heroic woman. Holding a shadow hat with the word, wind, in hand, he announced loudly that he was Sand Shinobi's 5th Kazekage. Just like Kirigakure, the Sand Shinobi below burst out cheering and shouting. Konkuro. In this way, Sanagakure can also tide over the difficulties, right? Tamari nodded. If Gaara can smoothly master the power of the crane, then it will be double happiness. While saying this, Tamari turned his eyes to the left hand of the new Fungying master Yi Kang. The same as I saw in Kirigakure a month ago, standing with the same man. Why is it him again? Tamari was unable to vomit. I packed the tickets, and he is still at the 5th Hokage succession ceremony a month later. I have changed 3 movies, and they are all women. Do you think it will be behind this? Hey, don't mess with this kind of thing. 8 trigrams, be careful that there are ears on the wall. Not only Tamari, but many important figures who have participated in the Mizukage succession ceremony and Fungying succession ceremony have also had the same idea. Although they all want to spit out, but they are more keenly aware. The chain that maintained the stability of the entire ninja world was held by the man. And after delivering the speech declaration, Yekang at the top of the Fungying building recalled Terumi Mei's shocking engagement statement a month ago. From the corner of his eye, Yèyuè Guāng quietly slipped away. A ghostly thought came to mind in my mind, or me too. However, just gave birth to this mind. Yi Kang shook his head severely, driving this thought out of his mind. She is not as cheeky as Terumi Mei's merry madness, and can do that kind of thing in front of so many people. But if you just end like this, yes, will there be no chance in the future? Just when Yi Kang was extremely tangled, suddenly I felt a big hand grasping myself. Immediately afterwards, his whole person fell into a familiar and warm embrace. Advertisement then, Z was blocked. The frenetic atmosphere on the scene has been fired to a new height. 1 month later. Fire Country, Konoha. On the back mountain wall, the rock sculptures of 3rd generation Sarutobi Hiruzen have disappeared. The rock sculpture of 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato moved 1 position to the rock sculpture of 2nd generation Senju Tobarama. In the distant place, a young woman, or girl, is a more accurate new rock sculpture. It's really ruthless. I just gave away all the rock sculptures of the old man Sarutobi. Standing at the top of the Senju clan ruin mansion, Tsunade Sipsake looked straight at the Hokage rock sculpture on the back mountain in the distance and secretly complained. As early as after the Second Ninja World War, she no longer referred to Sarutobi Hiruzen as teacher. To be honest, Tsunade was kind enough not to kill the elder Tien Tuan F44 himself. You can come back, the 1st generation and 2nd generation adults must be very happy. Jiraiya walked up from behind, smiling cheerfully as he licked the dog. Humph. Tsunade snorted and said nothing. As the eldest granddaughter of 1st generation, she has the purest Naruto orthodox lineage. If Namikaze Minato dies, she will return to Konoha. The position of Naruto will never fall to Sarutobi Hiruzen again. However, she didn't bother at all, watching countless villagers and foreign guests gather towards the Hokage building below. Jiraiya laughed. Oh, it looks like it's about to start. After Tsunade blinked, he also leapt towards the administrative building. After all, she still has feelings for Konoha. I want to see what the successor who ended 2.3 Sarutobi's 40 years of rule is like. Inside the Naruto building, inside the renovated office. This outfit suits you well, Hinata. Looking at Hinata, who was dressed in a new dress, Yèyuè Guāng nodded in satisfaction. The snow-white kimono dress is very similar to the non-white version of first-generation Nine-Tails Jinchuriki Uzumaki Mito. Although Yèyuè Guāng is looking forward to Hinata wearing a kimono, but that can only be passed on to himself. Hey, Hinata, who put the hat of fire on her head, heard Yèyuè Guāng's praise, and smiled with joy in her heart. Chapter 133 Unpredictable New Era, 5th More Seeking Subscription. After half an hour, when a seat of Hinata in a pure white kimono, the hat of fire, appeared on the top of the Hokage building directly below the Naruto rock sculptures of the past. So young, many participated in the new appointed Hokage's succession ceremony, and it was also the first time to see Hinata with their own eyes. Representatives of individual countries such as Black Soil and Lois secretly sighed in their hearts. And when I saw Yèyuè Guāng next to Hinata, many of them had already participated in the first two Mizukage and Fungying succession ceremony, which is no surprise. Don't look down on others when the girl is young. The other part passed the Chunin exam 3 months ago, and the guests who had witnessed Hinata's power whispered. That is the existence that can defeat Third Hokage's continual defeat. Yes, and she is only 13 years old this year. The ghost knows how strong the future will be. Actually, I began to wonder whether Yèyuè Guāng's next goal would be possible. Is it the country of the earth? I think so too. After all, there is only one rock shinobi left on the sidelines. I heard the discussions whispering among the representatives of the surrounding countries. On behalf of Iwagakure's Lois, Black Ten Soil father and daughter were both unhappy, but also secretly worried. I have to admit that what they said makes sense. Yèyuè Guāng was Cloud Shinobi's second character as early as more than 10 years ago. And now, the new 5th Hokage, 5th Kazekage, 5th Mizukage are all his people. In other words, the only big country that he hasn't reached right now is Iwagakure. Then what method will he use to deal with Iwagakure? The last thing Heitu and the others want to see is military suppression. If the 4 great shinobi villages unite to crusade rock shinobi, that is definitely not something they can resist. But their worries compared to the Black Soil. Most of the people at the scene were excited and even happy with some crazy signs. Originally there were still a large number of Sarutobi Hiruzen's old party supporters in the village. However, 2 months ago, the Fire Country daimyo once claimed that if there are residents who do not want to stay in Konoha, they can move to his capital. Then many Sarutobi Hiruzen, Wolf Fire, have been incurable for many years. Without hesitation, he wanted to relocate to Daming City. However, during the relocation, almost all of them were robbed and killed by bandits or strong men. As for whether it's a robber or a bandit, who knows? Advertisement or it's like the Uchiha genocide 6 years ago. I know, no one dared to say, Naruto, it's amazing. The Konoha Xiaoqiang below, Naruto's eyes are the most admired, his eyes are shining, and he is dying to the Hinata on the roof, or the rock sculpture of his father on the top of Hinata's head. The next generation of Naruto, that's me. I will become a Naruto that surpasses my father. He used to say, I want to be a Hokage beyond 4th Hokage. Now he also changed this mantra to, become a Naruto that surpasses dad. If it were normal, Haruno Sakura, Inujaya, etc. and Naruto, who had some trouble with Xiaoqiang, would definitely stand up and taunt him. But after knowing that Naruto's life background is the son of 4th Hokage, the vast majority of people in the village, and even many of Xiaoqiang during the same period, had a big change in their attitude towards Naruto. This is reality. After all, but Naruto was rather excited. Uchiha Sasuke's pupils are full of fanfare. He has heard about Kakashi. Uchiha Spring encountered his older brother who killed his mother and many innocent members of the clan during the action in the Country of Water. After the two clash at a stalemate, in the end it was nothing. However, Uchiha Itachi killed Uchiha Azumi's mother Uchiha Hazuki. Uchiha Kwan is absolutely to count with him. These two people must die. And he, Uchiha Sasuke, must stand in line. Or Uchiha Itachi, help him deal with Uchiha Spring, and the people behind Uchiha Spring. Or just stand on Uchiha Spring's side, but if he chooses this way, he still doesn't have to make a move. Adopt an attitude of ignorance. In the end, how to do? He does not know. Although the scale of Hinata's succession ceremony is the largest among the 3 ninja villages. But at the end, of course, it is impossible to be as shocking as Terumi Mei or Yi Kang. Otherwise this chapter is gone. At the end of the speech, Yèyuè Guāng came up and put a hand on Hinata's small head. Signaled that he would lead her as always. Advertisement. This made Hinata, who was a little nervous in the face of hundreds of thousands, felt a lot lighter on his shoulders, and at the same time showed a sweet smile. A new era has arrived. This is a new era in which even Yèyuè Guāng, a traverser, cannot predict how it will develop in the future. Just the shadows of each village, compare this period with the original work. 2 of the 5 ninja villages were replaced, instead of Gaara's Yekang. Replace Tsunade's Hinata. At the same time, Jinchuriki is the future that determines the direction of the world. Compared with the original work, it is also quite different. For one-tail Gaara, who holds the position of 5th Kazekage, stay in Konoha temporarily to learn how to control the crane perfectly. Two-tailed Jinchuriki was transferred from Cloud Shinobi to Konoha by Wooden Golem, the core confidant of Yèyuè Guāng. Three Tails has been captured by Akatsuki, which is generally the same as in the original book. 4 Tails Jinchuriki Old Purple, 6 Tails Jinchuriki Foam wandering outside. Yèyuè Guāng was not in the mood to care about him either. 5 Tails Jinchuriki is served by Kimimaro, who was dead at this time in the original book, and is also learning how to control tail beasts. 7 Tails Jinchuriki is owned by Takine Village. Killer Bee, the weird flower, still stays in Cloud Shinobi Village because of his personality. Yèyuè Guāng's cousin Fourth Raikage forbids him to leave the village without incident. And Naruto of 9 Tails is the full version of 9 Tails with the dual attributes of yin and yang. It is still taught by Jiraiya. The Akatsuki organization headed by Runtu, in response to this situation, will it still be like the original book? In the form of 2 people as a team, one person is responsible for capturing a Jinchuriki to carry out the tail beast capture plan? Yèyuè Guāng could not guess either, but just because he couldn't guess, he would look forward to it even more. Everything is under planning, although it is very good, but at the same time a bit boring. It's just like playing a game, and now Yèyuè Guāng is not upset about one thing. That's something that every man in his previous life who is nearly 30 will worry about. Marry. Chapter 134 Let's divide him, 6th more seeking subscription. The matter of getting married is rather troublesome to talk about. Of course, it can't be because of the betrothal of the previous life. It's a question of status. The marriage system of Naruto World is very similar to that of Yèyuè Guāng's previous feudal period. In short, it is the difference between a wife and a concubine. I don't know how long the quarrel has been for this mess. Yèyuè Guāng said that the same humanities written by TMD say that the man's woman is as close as a sister. No matter how many women the male lead finds, being easygoing is as simple as just adding a pair of chopsticks at home. Don't say it's not a sister, it's true that a sister is even more fierce. Isn't Yamanaka Ino and Haruno Sakura a good example? It's because these women are not in the same village. Right now Terumi Mei is in Mist Shinobi, Yi Kang is in Sand Shinobi, and Sam Yi is staying next to Yèyuè Guāng in Konoha. Although he won't fight with Azabui, the atmosphere is quite embarrassing when he meets each other. Just like this, Yèyuè Guāng is a bit big. It is said that Terumi Mei has already begun to figure out how to train one of Bai or Kimimaro into the next generation of Mizukage. Then she moved to Konoha to live with Mrs. Donkuo with Yèyuè Guāng. FK. Just 2 days after sitting in this position, you started thinking about things after your abdication. Your thoughts are a little jumpy. But what Yèyuè Guāng did not expect was that Terumi Mei was not the only one who had this idea. Time is rushing, as fast as flowing water. Originally, Terumi Mei, a marriage mad, planned to clean up the mess left by Uchiha Obito and immediately complete his lifelong event. Although Terumi Mei holds that she is the strongest among all the women in Yèyuè Guāng. But this kind of thing really cannot be compared in this respect. What's more, did you forget the one sitting in the Hokage office? Although both Terumi Mei and Sammy want face, they will not tear up every time they meet like a shrew on the street. But in response to this problem, everyone showed no signs of concession. After a full 6 months, Yèyuè Guāng, who didn't care much about this question, couldn't sit still. Wouldn't it be great to directly suggest that you can't get married at all, so that everyone can maintain their current relationship peacefully? Current relationship? What relationship? Underground sunny person, or runner? Hearing the remarks of the dead man, these women reached an unanimous conclusion for the first time. Advertisement let's beat him up first, it's so troublesome, or else you figure out a way to divide me. Such a mess has been troubled for so long. Although it's impossible for most of these women to really hurt, Yèyuè Guāng didn't know if they were so annoyed that he lost his mind, and suddenly such a sentence came out. Good idea. Sammy's eyes suddenly lit up, get the knife, let's divide him. This scene is very much like a picture of 2 thorn apes that Yèyuè Guāng has seen in his previous life. Yèyuè Guāng stared at Sammy with big eyes, is it so cruel? We are each other's first time. Okay, if you divide it, I want it there. Marriage madness Terumi Mei is the most unpredictable one. When he goes up, he points directly at Yèyuè Guāng. I go. Samui, Yi Kang, and Mabui, the weakest fighting force on the scene. Shuang Hongchang even poke a small hole in the paper door, watching the live broadcast of Hinata, Hanabi, and Uchiha from the outside. They were so scared that their eyes almost stared out. Is Sister Ming that ruthless? Where are you divided as soon as you come? The society is an old Chu woman who will be 29 and close to 30 after this year. Terumi Mei said that the old lady broke the pot and fell on her body anyway. It's a big deal, the old lady will make a clean break, everyone don't want this man. This severance is not a physical aspect, right? Samui. What are you talking about? Yi Kang. No, don't mess around. Azabui. Calm down, not to be too low. Both inside and outside the house, everyone was taken down by Terumi Mei. Although I knew that this woman had serious marital madness, I didn't expect it to be such a bull. Scared, Yèyuè Guāng is hesitating. What should he do at this time? She won't really want to divide herself, will she? Do you want to be elementalized? Waiting online, very anxious? In the end, the idea of dividing Yèyuè Guāng still failed to come true. The question of wives and concubines temporarily let go. Advertisement after all, Terumi Mei's hand just now suppressed everyone. If there is no compromise, the ghost knows what this woman wants to do. What if she really separates Yèyuè Guāng and runs away? Facing Terumi Mei's operation, Sam Yi, who is Yèyuè Guāng's first girlfriend in the world, had to give in temporarily. Yi Kang originally belonged to the type of clear-hearted personality. If it weren't for the excitement of Terumi Mei's hand operation 6 months ago. In all likelihood, you will have to maintain that kind of unclear relationship with Yèyuè Guāng all your life. This matter is finally settled. That night, Yèyuè Guāng also contacted Sammy and Yi Kang to test that there was a problem. Well, very good, still very healthy, national football level. Oh, don't think about the 3-person package that some readers think about. Among the women present, Samui and Mabui had the best relationship, and they were only in the type of silent meeting. Do you really think that something like sisters happened? If Sammy wasn't inferior in strength, I'm afraid he would have to fight if he meets Terumi Mei. Don't think about the set meal on the women in the house. Maybe those 3 outside the house. Wang Qian Zhao, ahem. Can't go on, break and break, Konoha 61 years, January 7th. April 9th. May 7th. Yèyuè Guāng married Sammy, Yi Kang, and Terumi Mei successively. There are no particular sorting issues, it was done purely according to the woman's birthday. Although Terumi Mei was angry, she was helpless. No way, who made you born late? Compared with the vigorous wedding banquet held by the first 3, Azabui, born on February 1st, is much more low-key. Just got a certificate with Yèyuè Guāng, and then entrusted himself to the bowels. Most people in the ninja world thought that Yèyuè Guāng had only received it 3 times. Chapter 135 Different growth from the original, first more seeking subscription. To be honest, both Sammy and Yi Kang belong to the type that tends to be more serious. Basically, Yèyuè Guāng contributes when doing affairs. Although not to say that there is no sense of experience, but to be honest, there is always a feeling of missing everything after a long time. In comparison, Mabui and Terumi Mei are really awesome. Especially the latter. It's almost the same as the word, water, of Mizukage, which she served. It is a perfect match with Yèyuè Guāng. That taste, absolutely. Ahem, no, can't be so reluctant to think about Shu. Wentu, Black Zetsu and others have not been killed yet. There is nothing wrong with enjoying, but you must never indulge in it. Time flies, and people can't help but feel like, so long has passed, from time to time. More than 2 years have passed since the Chunin exam that could change the big pattern of Ninja World. During this period, the joint Chunin exam was held in Cloud Shinobi Village and Sunagakure in turn. Now Mist Shinobi also joins in. Whether it is Konoha's Xiaoqiang, or Cloud Shinobi, Mist Shinobi or Sand Shinobi's Xiaoqiang. Through their changes, we can see the traces of the passage of time. Gradually stepping into 15, the Xiaoqiangs who are a little bit older and have already passed 16 yuan, can no longer be described as little ghosts, 690. Both the body and the character are getting closer to maturity. But even if the appearance is the same as the original, the growth state is far from the original line. The most important point is the 7th class. Knowing his true life experience and getting the complete 9 Tails Naruto still follow Jiraiya to practice. I think I can play a stronger force than the original line. And Uchiha Sasuke, although he lost the goal of revenge. But as Indra reincarnated, he naturally cannot stand still. Even without Orochimaru's cultivation, his evolutionary speed is far beyond the average ninja. With a confused mood, he constantly explored the future shrouded in mist. But he still doesn't know if he finally chooses to stand on the side of his filial brother. Advertisement: his Indra reincarnation is about to die early. The last is Haruno Sakura. Because Tsunade did not serve as 5th Hokage, and even if Sarutobi Hiruzen is dead, Tsunade no longer has to worry about anything. But even so, she did not stay in Konoha to settle down and spend more time in the casino. At most, I came back a lot more frequently. However, the number of times Tsunade stayed in Konoha in a year was not enough to teach Haruno Sakura. As a result, the gap between her and the other 2 in Class 7 is getting bigger and bigger. Secret Base. Ear Mountain Chi Chi Ba Dance Righteousness Wine Righteousness. And Yèyuè Guāng's confidant. The changes in Hinata are the most obvious. The height has reached 162 cm all the way, far less than Terumi Mei and others, but it is the ideal height for the soft girl like Hinata. The more amazing original slender figure gradually became an amazing 91e. This makes Haruno Sakura, Yamanaka Ino, Tenten and other female peers envy. Even Uchiha Spring, who is over 20 this year, expressed envy and hatred. Her age may be hopeless, and Hyuga Hinata is also 11 years old. Every time Yèyuè Guāng sees this girl, he has a sense of seeing the former Hinata. However, the personality is quite different, and Hanabi's face is more melon-seated than Hinata. Wow, I'm back. I feel Konoha has become more beautiful than before. At the top of a telegraph pole, put on a black and orange cotton coat, Naruto, who was more mature than before, stood at the top of the telegraph pole, regardless of his height and temperament. Konoha at Yao Wang's feet, after raising his arms and screaming, fixed his gaze on the back mountain wall, the rock sculpture of his father. Old, Basidi. Dad. I'm back, it's so noisy, the tale of the crane. Familiar voice, familiar title. Since the identity of the son of Fourth Hokage was made public, there is only one person in the village who still calls him that. Sasuke. Naruto lowered his head to see the figure that hadn't been seen for nearly 2 years. It's been a long time, it seems to be a little more capable than before. Feeling the chakra fluctuations emanating from Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, who had not made a decision for 2 years, barely smiled. I'm afraid this is to cross the fetters of Sansei the Third's friends. Advertisement, do you want to try? Naruto smiled strangely. The movement produced by the two also attracted the past Xiaoqiangs. I saw Haruno Sakura, Yamanaka Ino and others whose 2 images have changed a lot. However, compared to the pretty female classmate, Naruto paid more attention to Inagaya Zakamaru. This dog can grow so big, all alone, this kid. Jiraiya watched this scene in full, silently complaining. But forgot, he is also an old bachelor. Long time no see, Naruto. At this time, Gaara also came. Gaara, are you also in Konoha? Naruto was surprised. Gaara nodded. Well, I followed the method that Senior Wooden Golem practiced to control Sho Crane, and it's almost finished. Just when the Xiaoqiangs exchanged their experiences over the past 2 years. Jiraiya noticed 2 figures in the dessert shop on the side of the street. Immediately, I don't know if I felt Jiraiya's eyes. 2 figures got up and walked out of the shop. Red cloud uniform on black background. Although it only appeared once in Kirigakure, many people in the ninja world really don't understand what this uniform means. But Jiraiya, who has his own independent intelligence network, knows exactly what this dress represents. There are too many people here. Jiraiya, who wanted to catch the opponent directly, squinted and noticed the hot discussion of the Xiaoqiangs, and finally chose to give in for the time being. The 2 people who followed Xiao secretly, when Naruto recovered, he suddenly stunned. Huh? Where did Pervy Sage go? Chapter 136 The Best Combination. Brother Control and Brocon, second more seeking subscription. I didn't expect you to come back. There are many people in this village who want to kill you. It wasn't until he followed the place all the way to the border of the village in no man's land, Jiraiya took the initiative to show up, blocking the 2 mysterious people who wore large pens with red clouds on a black background and covered their faces with feathers hanging on their heads. Uchiha Itachi. Jiraiya squinted his eyes and said solemnly. You used to be Konoha's ambush squad leader. It is not a strange thing to be able to break the barrier and enter here silently. Listening to the other party chanting his name, Uchiha Itachi no longer concealed it, and took the initiative to take off the hat on top of his head. It's really troublesome, Mr. Itachi. Hoshigaki Kisame next to him also took off the hat, revealing the half-man and half-fish face, and raised his eyebrows. The other party is, the legendary Sanin. You may be fine, but I can't do it. If we are singled out, both of us will be killed. Even if we join forces, the movement caused will definitely attract the mini-masters who are now staying at Konoha. In Uchiha Itachi's tone, it was rare to add a little hesitation, and then said after a few seconds. Could you please come here for a kick? Master Jiraiya, we are here just to investigate Konoha's current situation. Konoha now has 2 tails and 9 tails headed. If you count Gaara who is studying abroad, there are 3. For Akatsuki, who has officially begun to implement the Tail Beast capture plan, it is a major goal that cannot be ignored. But even as arrogant as Nagato, he didn't dare to attack Konoha at will. So Uchiha Itachi, who was once the leader of Konoha Anbu Squadron, sneaked into the investigation. And it was deliberately selected when Yèyuè Guāng and 5th Hokage Yèyuè Hinata were out. I don't want to comment on what you did, but there are 2 rebels close at hand. How can you say that I can just ignore it? Jiraiya twisted his wrist, and Sei Mimi's eyes became more sharp. At first glance, he knew that he was going to make a move. This is really troublesome. Ben Lao wants to avoid fighting. Hoshigaki Kisame did not hesitate to pull out the dumpling muscle behind. Although he is a little afraid of Jiraiya, he is never afraid of each other. How about I kill Uchiha Itachi? Lord Jiraiya. The sweet girl coming from behind changed the look of Hoshigaki Kisame and even Uchiha Itachi, who always had a poker face. Turning to see, a slim young woman wearing an Anbu-printed gray vest was standing behind them. Hoshigaki Kisame frowned. When is this woman? Uchiha Itachi looked half-heartedly. Quan. The comber is Uchiha Spring. And Uchiha Itachi also immediately noticed the special trigeminal kunai in her hands. It's not the flying thunder god of 2nd Hokage used in the battle at Kirigakure 2 years ago. It's an improved version of 4th Hokage. Advertisement. You have grown up in the past 2 years. Uchiha Itachi frowned. In order to kill you, I also worked hard to cultivate. Uchiha Izumi looked cold and frosty. Song. Just when the 2 sides are about to touch off. The 5th person, come. The appearance of this person broke the original situation of the battle. Uchiha Sasuke. Uchiha Sasuke hesitated for a long time with a tangled face, and finally called out the other party's name directly. It's not the honorific name of brother in the past. He didn't rush over with an angry face like he imagined. Sure enough, do you already know the truth of that incident? Uchiha Itachi quickly thought about the situation in his mind and what action he should take. My previous plan was to wait until Sasuke grows up, confront him, die in his hands, and rewrite Sasuke's thinking with distinguished heavenly gods, in order to achieve the purpose of protecting Konoha. But now Konoha has become Cloud Shinobi's Konoha, or Yèyuè Guāng's Konoha. Under such circumstances, should we continue to use distinguished heavenly gods? Do you want to use distinguished heavenly gods on Sasuke? Uchiha Springs suddenly spoke, causing Uchiha Itachi's eyes to shrink suddenly. Seeing the other's face with surprise, Uchiha Izumi shrugged disdainfully. Don't show that expression. Do you find it difficult to guess your thoughts? It's just right, take this opportunity to speak clearly. Uchiha Izumi took out the three-pointed kunai of the same style as Namikaze Minato from the ninja bag, and spoke indifferently. Sasuke, I'm going to kill Itachi. You can now choose to sit and watch, or you can choose to stand on his side. -0 seeking flowers. Sister Quan. Uchiha Sasuke looked terrified. He could see that Uchiha Quan was playing for real. Like Brokan's Uchiha Itachi, Uchiha Sasuke also has serious brother control attributes. To be honest, in the past 2 years, his heart has raised the idea of forgiving Uchiha Itachi more than once. However, whenever this idea arises repeatedly, that night, in the basement chamber of Nanga Shrine in Uchiha advertisement, the picture of Mother Uchiha Mikoto's tragic death under the blade of Uchiha Itachi came to mind again and again. Noting Uchiha Spring's movements, Jiraiya secretly said inwardly, "Resume." Uchiha Itachi also said nothing, silently turning on Sharingan. Anyway, I have to find a way to leave the eyes to Sasuke. 0. Trouble. Hoshigaki Kisami's secret path is not good. Uchiha Sasuke can come here, which means that there are a lot of Konoha and Cloud Shinobi ninjas coming here. Things will only get worse then. Boom boom boom. Just when the 5 people present thought back to their differences, a 10th magnitude earthquake-like vibration came from underneath. Even with the appearance of Uchiha Sasuke, they are all players whose strength exceeds cage level. But such a sudden strong shock made them all wing up and almost fell. What it is? Uchiha Sasuke's expression changed drastically, and his expression drastically changed, raising his eyes to look out of the village. The other 4 also turned their heads diagonally. I saw that a huge meteorite was floating in the air dozens of miles away in the air. Or it's an asteroid. This is Pains, the face of Hoshigaki Kisame of planetary devastation, who has been fortunate enough to meet once, changed drastically. What happened? Pen is here. Kisame, go! Uchiha Itachi suddenly shouted. Then he turned and fled towards the outside of the village. Hoshigaki Kisame saw this and quickly followed. Can you run? Seeing this, Uchiha Quan was ready to throw Flying Thunder God kunai. 3 months later, the Uchiha ruins on the southwest border of the Fire Country. Let's make a break there. At this time, Uchiha Itachi's voice came from Yuya in front. Again. Chapter 137 Demigod Form, 3rd more seeking subscription. It is about a dozen miles south of Konoha village in the forest. But now the forest no longer exists, and what is left is a bare clearing. The original green forest has been absorbed into the air by the exaggerated suction, turning into an asteroid hovering in the air. In the shocked eyes of Samui, Hanabi and other women, Hinata in a snow-white kimono lined up with palms facing each other. Floating above the asteroid, the pair of Tensigen shining like gems in the eye sockets exudes a deep and unfathomable light. Okay. Amazing. Sister Hinata. Hanabi jumped and jumped in excitement, holding her 2 small hands in her mouth and kept shouting. Azabu opened his mouth in shock. The little girl who was brought back to the village by Hikari back then has become so strong now. Sammy recovered from the shock the fastest, pretending to be indifferent. He has always chosen a woman's 690 vision. Whether Hinata, Yekang, or Uchiha Spring, which of these women is simple? Although Sam is always angrily waiting for the B******** D to blow the hammer. But I also have to agree that the vision of this person is really good. You really are a genius, Hinata. Yèyuè Guāng stepped forward and smiled. Although compared to Rinnegan's 5-flower 8-gate ability, Tensegen's ability is much simpler. But the gravitational and repulsive force as a common ability is even greater than that of Rinnegan. Therefore, Hinata should be easier to learn planetary devastation, which is the profound meaning of gravitational repulsion, than Nagato. But even so, you can learn this trick at the young age of 16. Although there is a reason why Otsutsuki Hamura helped open the hang-up. But Hinata's own capabilities cannot be ignored. The exaggerated Hinata smiled sweetly. Slowly floated down from midair. How do you deal with this thing? Azabuye looked up at this small planet that seemed to block the sun, and couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. It just so happens that I also have a move I want to test. Yèyuè Guāng strode forward and walked in front of the women. Hinata was waiting behind him when he was curious about what he wanted to do. I only felt that the aura on Yèyuè Guāng's body changed drastically. Under the shadow of planetary devastation, the thunder overflowing from Yèyuè Guāng's body is not so much an electric light, it is more like a daylight light. The eyes are like deep blue hollow thunder, and the lightning arc floating out from the pupils seems to convey the divine meaning that mortals can never touch. Advertisement: the electric light wrapped in light is like a truth-seeking ball floating beside the 6 paths mode. floating around Yèyuè Guāng's body in this form. What is this? It feels as unfathomable as a black hole, even more than before. Hinata in the back, Sammy and the girls looked at each other and they couldn't help showing incredible colors. The single-wheel visual impact, Yèyuè Guāng's new posture, is far less than the visual impact brought by the previous Thunder Giant. However, the deep, ethereal, and unattainable feeling only made them feel that this is a realm that is impossible to reach in a mortal body. Hinata's willow eyebrows are slightly raised. The state of Yèyuè Guāng made her subconsciously ring in the 10-second space on the moon. Encountered Otsutsuki Hamura, but only the level of strength feels similar. The breath is completely different. Plug in. Picture. The strongest Thor system. Open black lens bracket host. Yèyuè Guāng close black lens bracket. First template. Enel. Unlocking degree. 100%. Second template. Masaka Mikoto absolute ability form, with a human body, reaching the realm of God. Unlocking rate. 88.7%, still not completely finished LV6. Yèyuè Guāng, who has stepped into the realm of gods with one foot, is still quite dissatisfied with such achievements. When I developed Masaka Mikoto LV6 template to more than 85%. The process of unlocking is as slow as a turtle. Masaka Mikoto reached his current level after the original book. Her personality and thoughts have been backlashed by the realm of gods. Then force the evolution to change back to cause the destruction of the body and mind. Therefore, after Yèyuè Guāng reaches this state, he can only explore on his own. If you take the Six Paths class as an example, the way Yèyuè Guāng looks now is a bit like the half-hanging state of Six Paths Obito. As a complete Six Paths, it is nowhere near Six Paths Madara, let alone Kagaya-ji. It can only come step by step. After a murmur in secret, the thunder surface of Yèyuè Guāng in demigod form was covered with a divine luster. At the moment of touching the planetary devastation above the sky, the arc is so subtle that you can no longer see it in the blink of an eye. Compared with a planet floating in the air, it is insignificant like an embroidery needle. But the next second, advertisement taste, a thin slit cracked in the center of planetary devastation, followed by boom. In the loud noise, but in a flash, the tiny arc just now turned into an endless skynet and spread to the entire planet. The space that can't be blinked, it will be smashed to pieces. This one after another, a huge visual gap. The women present were speechless in astonishment. This power is amazing. The luster that filled the whole body, and the thunder light that bloomed from the pupils gradually dissipated. Yèyuè Guāng, who returned to normal, turned his head back and chuckled. Okay, go back. A few hours later, inside the Naruto office. Yèyuè Guāng, who was sitting on the sofa next to him, listened to Uchiha Kwan's report and said with one hand on his cheek. Da Xiaozi sneaked in. Yeah, he was once the leader of Konoha Anbu's squadron, he knew very well how to break the barrier. He asked me 3 months later to go to the Uchiha ruins in the southwest border area of the Country of Fire for a break. Uchiha Kwan responded again, the remains of Uchiha? Sitting in Hokage's exclusive seat, the young Hinata tilted her head, a little puzzled on her face. Azabui, who was holding the databoard with one hand next to him, explained. That is the ruins of the Uchiha clan and the Sengoku period passed down from the Sengoku era. 2.3. Second pillar or no choice, Yèyuè Guāng thought of another question and asked. Yes, but I will let Sasuke come to watch the game at that time, and only one of Itachi and I will walk out of the ruins. Uchiha Izumi resolutely said. Yèyuè Guāng's face appeared solemn, and he lightly touched the table with his fingers, making a clang clang sound. Plug in. Picture to be honest, I can use Yèyuè Guāng's understanding of Brokan's character of Urzuzi's sick brother and the filial son Brokan. Even if Uchiha Kwan wins by then, it is not impossible for Mangekyo, who is awakened by one Urzuzi, to fight against Uchiha Spring with the same enemy chi as the filial son. Don't talk about the hatred of the death of parents, in the face of brotherly control, the hatred of parents is nothing. Uchiha's brotherhood is such a basic love, I'll go take a look too. Yèyuè Guāng decided to think. Chapter 138 This operation show has come to me, fourth more seeking subscription. In order to end the battle 3 months later, Uchiha Kwan did not follow Yèyuè Guāng as usual. After reporting the matter, he left and went to the training ground to practice. So that's the truth about Uchiha's extermination. It feels like that Sasuke is also quite pitiful, being caught in the middle is very uncomfortable, right? Hanabi was sitting next to Yèyuè Guāng. Because of his height, he couldn't touch the ground with his feet on the sofa. He looked rather cute when he saw it dangling. I don't know how well he feels, I only know that if he chooses to stand on the side of the filial son, he can only say sorry. Yèyuè Guāng ravaged Hanabi's little head twice, dong dong. Uchiha Kwan had just left for a few minutes. There was another knock on the door. Please come in. Hinata said gently. Although Yèyuè Guāng often taught her that as the head of a village, she does not need to be so polite. But the character is really hard to change. What's more, with Hinata's current strength, it doesn't matter what you call it. Konoha and even the entire shinobi world were afraid that no one would dare to be disrespectful to her. The office door opened, and only Tensa Gaara walked into the room, both in height and temperament, compared to 2 years ago. After entering the door, Gaara bowed her head to show respect, and then said again. Master Naruto, and Master Everbright, I'm here to say goodbye today. If you can say this, it means that you have been able to perfectly control the power of the guard crane, right? Yèyuè Guāng said with a smile but not a smile. Yes, thanks to the teaching by Miss Wooden Golem, I am going to return to Sunagakure today. Gaara responded. Now, I can slap those guys who have called you a monster, hard in the face. Unfortunately, your old dad is dead. You can't let him see how your failed product surpassed him. Yèyuè Guāng smiled. When talking about her father Fourth Raikage Luosha, Gaara's face appeared a little strange. But in the end I didn't say anything, after saying a few more words to express my gratitude. He turned around and left the office, and officially returned to his hometown, the country of wind. Gaara has basically locked the position of the wind shadow of the 6th generation. As a result, our alliance with the Kingdom of Wind will be more stable. Mabui was quite excited and said, in this way, as long as there are no accidents, peace in the shinobi world can be maintained for at least decades. Since 2 years ago, 5th Mizukage Terumi Mei, 5th Keisuke Gyekura, 5th Hokage Yèyuè Hinata have been in the position. Yèyuè Guāng, in a true sense, controls the lifeblood of the 4 of the 5 ninja villages. Advertisement. Although Iwagakure is not Yèyuè Guāng's confidant class as Tsuchikage. But facing the 4 village union, Iwagakure did not dare to do anything. After participating in Hinata's Hokage succession ceremony, he immediately sent Black Soil as a representative to sign an alliance agreement with Konoha under the command of Hinata. So far, the 5 major powers have never had any conflicts over and over again. In the eyes of Mabui and most people, as long as Yèyuè Guāng is there, the chain of peace cannot be broken. According to his age, it is speculated that the peaceful era can last at least another few decades. Yèyuè Guāng laughed and said nothing. Naive, still too naive. Not to mention Runtu wants to create an ultimate licking dog with Yi Yuanlin. Black Zetsu is also good at doing things the year before last year. If you don't put these goods in one pot, the shinobi world will never be able to settle down. Boom. The office door was opened again. However, no one knocked on the door this time, but was forced to knock it open. There are not many who have this courage in the ninja world. Husband. I want to die. The blue shadow who rushed into the office did not say hello to Yèyuè Guāng, who is the highest leader of Konoha Ming's face, but plunged directly into Yèyuè Guāng's arms on the side sofa. Hanabi, who was sitting next to Yèyuè Guāng, was almost knocked out. She looked at Terumi Mei, who was holding Yèyuè Guāng's face madly. This is too fierce, right? Although there are no outsiders at the scene, can you pay attention to the impact? I am still an 11-year-old child. Before I changed it, the Hinata Sky Spirit Cap, who saw this picture, had already started to steam. But now it doesn't move as much as Mount Tai. No way, I have seen it. She and Hanabi, Uchiha Kwan formed a trio in the corner. I don't know how many times I watched the live broadcast. Said that this kind of scene is not enough to cause any harm to them. Ming, today is not a holiday, why are you here? Yèyuè Guāng silently pushed away the other's cheeks, rubbed the lipstick on his face and asked silently. The person who came is precisely Terumi Mei, who has been married to Yèyuè Guāng, one of them, and is also the fiercest Terumi Mei in many aspects of all his women. Advertisement. Does it have to wait for the holidays to come? You guilty man? Terumi Mei pouted displeased ly. As Terumi Mei of 5th Mizukage, he has to deal with the mess left by Yagura, Uchiha Obito. In addition, there are too few capable people. The workload is even more exaggerated than Yekang and Hinata. Therefore, Konoha and Yèyuè Guāng can only meet at Konoha and Yi Moonlight during relaxing times such as holidays. In many cases, Yèyuè Guāng goes to Mist Shinobi by himself. The date is not a holiday, so Yèyuè Guāng and the others are surprised by Terumi Mei's sudden upside down. Please pay attention to your own image, Master Mizukage. Azabuyi peeled Terumi Mei away from Yèyuè Guāng, although it's not as high profile as the 3 of you, but at any rate it is also certified. You are so shy, don't you put me in your eyes, cut, I am not Mizukage anymore. 690 Terumi Mei pouted. Clam. Not only Mabui, but Yèyuè Guāng and the others in the office grew up in shock. To be precise, it will not be right now. Terumi Mei smiled and said. I started to hand over the work of Mizukage to Bai, so I have more time to come to Konoha to accompany her husband. After Bai is thoroughly familiar with Mizukage's work process, I give him the position of Mizukage, and I move to Muyi Lai lives with her husband and concentrates on being a Kuo wife. When saying this, Terumi Mei took advantage of Mabui's stunned situation, and threw himself into Yèyuè Guāng's arms, looked at the other party with tears, and almost said the words, You will raise me in the future. Yèyuè Guāng said that your operation is really convincing. After being a Mizukage for 2 years, are you going to abdicate and become a virtuous? Fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato, who claims to have the shortest tenure, also worked for 3 years, right? As a woman, Azabuyi thought of Gaara, who had just returned to Sunagakure. Then I think of Yekang, who is far away at Sunagakure as 5th Keisuke. She suddenly had a strong premonition of uncertainty. Yi Kang, won't you also play this hand? Husband, come on again. Hearing Terumi Mei's increasingly excessive demands, Mabui couldn't help snarling. Stop it, you wolf hoof. Chapter 139. Take advantage of the void and enter the Dawn organization, 5th more seeking subscription. The middle country between the country of fire and the country of wind, the country of Sichuan. It is a small country with no shinobu village and mainly business and trade. At the same time, it is also a subject of the Nation of Fire. It always acts as an intermediary country for the commodity trade between the country of fire and the country of wind. After leaving Konoha, Gaara is preparing to return to his hometown after 2 years, and is preparing to enter the country of wind from the country of the river. Seeming to be at the border, however, the way was blocked by 2 mysterious visitors wearing black uniforms with red clouds. What the Itachi guy said is true, one-tailed Jinchuriki has left Konoha, huh? The first to take off the hat on his head was a young man with long yellow hair who was not a few years older than Gaara and about the same age as Kimimaro. When he was speaking, the teeth in the mouth growing out of the palms of both hands were still chewing on something, and from time to time there was the sound of licking. Rebel? Gaara noticed that Deidara had a rock shinobi forehead protector with a mark on his head. The other person, crawling on the ground, moved forward like a tortoise crawling. His eyes were particularly sharp. This one does not have a forehead protector, so I can't tell which Shinobu village it comes from. But his elder brother Konkuro is the puppet master, and Gaara judged it roughly from the Kong iron tail that was flicking behind him from time to time. That is not a real person, but a puppet shell. Gaara couldn't help but frown and asked. Are you Sand Shinobi's betrayal? There is no need to tell you, I will catch you back soon. The deep and violent voice came through the puppet Fei-Luhu, just as Sasori of the Red Sand was preparing to launch an attack. Deidara blocked Sasori of the Red Sand with one hand. Hey, brother Sasori, didn't you say that I will do one-tailed Jinchuriki? Your slow technique, if you waste time and mess up things, what should you do? Sasori controlled Fei-Luhu and glared at Deidara. Don't worry, I have enough clay to detonate. When the voice fell, Deidara spit out a piece of clay with saliva from the palms of both hands. After squeezing a handshake, the palms of both hands were suddenly tightly thrown out. With a burst of white smoke, a western dragon appeared like a white plasticine. Is that the blood succession boundary? Gaara frowned secretly. Deidara jumped onto the C2 dragon's back and smiled triumphantly. Advertisement, it won't take much time, huh? Gaara shot suddenly. A beast claw made of sand and covered with a violet pattern came out of nowhere. Twist the neck of the clay dragon. So fast. The face of Deidara on the top of the clay dragon's head and Sasori of the red sand among the squirrels next to him changed at the same time. According to information, this kid will carry that huge gourd wherever he goes. And the power of the sand in the gourd is quite different from the ordinary sand. But now one too late to give the art duo more time to think. Gaara squeezed her protruding right hand. The arm of the guard crane will also instantly squeeze the neck of the clay dragon. This kid, seeing this, Deidara quickly jumped into the air and started chakra with one hand. Drink. The clay dragon whose neck was twisted off immediately caused a big explosion that was enough to detonate a street. Rumble, the skyrocketing fire and aftermath of the explosion covered the entire area. After a long time, the gunpowder smoke gradually dispersed. Gaara was wrapped in a thick spherical sand wall, only a thin slit was exposed and looked outside, frowning and secretly said. Is Iwagakure's explosion style? It's not to be underestimated from the power just now. Deidara, you idiot, don't detonate it casually. Fei-Luhu's deep and severe voice turned into an ordinary man's voice. I saw a young red-haired man who was not more than 30 years old walking out of the smashed head of Fei-Luhu, and shouted to Deidara who had landed on his face with a face of disdain. Is that true? Gaara's eyes changed slightly again. Excuse me, Sasori, after all, I didn't expect that guy's sand speed would be so fast. Deidara waved his hand and summoned several large clay birds, confidently saying. It won't be careless this time, You must save some chakra to deal with the other person, or solve the first one as quickly as possible. Gaara quickly thought about countermeasures in her mind. Immediately, Shohei's tail stuck out from behind. Advertisement Deidara and Sasori of the Red Sand saw this scene. Also wake up a lot. Want to be real? The country of water? Located on the edge of this island country, can't kill. Stabbed Hidan's heart with a bone knife, only to find that the opponent was still alive and kicking. Kimimaro frowned, stepped back quickly, and looked at the opponent with his pupils vacant. Damn it, you fellow, do you know it hurts? Hidan cursed with a calcaneal spur in his heart. Missed Shinobi's 5 tails Jinchuriki, Kagaya Kimimaro, the black market bounty is 80 million tails. After he is taken back, he will be exchanged for money. Kakuzu next to him moved his mouth behind the mask. You can't destroy the corpse too badly, otherwise you won't be able to see it, and you won't be able to exchange money. It's so noisy, Kakuzu. You caught 7 tails, in that case, 5 tails will replace me. Hidan pulled out the bone spur inserted in the heart, and at the same time took down the special scythe and machete behind him. This kid is a melee type, so he fits me very well. Hidan licked the tip of the sickle with excitement. If you can't kill, just blast this guy into mud. Seeing the pervert look of this undead B****************, D. Kimimaro, Wang Nuos, has already thought about the countermeasures in his heart. Crimson blood blisters began to emerge on the body, and the outlines of 5 tails appeared behind them. Kakuzu raised his eyes slightly. Are you coming? Hidan raised his arms and cheered. Yahahaha, please don't worry, Lord Cthulhu. I will use this guy as my sacrifice to you and kill him. The undead duo was not surprised. After all, they had already seen it once when 7 Tails was arrested in Takine village. Dance of Iron Flower. The half-tailed Kimimaro has the hardest bones in his hands, and 2 giant spears on the stroke of his arms. Stab Hidan and go crazy. 2 battles between Akatsuki vs Jinchuriki. It is staged at the same time on both sides of the ninja world. Chapter 140. You are still a little bit tender when you play Yin, 6th more seeking subscription. In a cave in a certain place. Of the 10 fingers of the Gedo statue, only 6 people are now standing. Following a visual observation, the red chakra in a girl who was the same age as Naruto, Gaara and other Shaoqiang was completely absorbed into the body of the Gedo statue. Another of the 9 eyes on the Gedo statue's face opened. Counting it all, 4 eyes have been opened. 7 tails has also been captured. In the state of the magic lantern technique, the voice of Heavenly Dao Pain was as cold as ever. 3 tails, 4 tails, 6 tails, 7 tails or 4. Conan squinted towards Tiandao Pain. Next, we need to wait until Sasori and Deidara, and Kakuzu and Hidan bring 1 tail and 5 tails back. This is thanks to the information Mr. Itachi investigated in Konoha. When these 2 Jinchuriki went out to perform missions, they attacked them when they were placed. The success rate must be very high, Hoshigaki Kisame smiled strangely. He and Uchiha Itachi were not traveling to Konoha, but to inquire about intelligence. He himself heard from Miss Shinobi that Kagaya Kimimaro, who was 5 tails Jinchuriki, was out on a mission recently. As 1-tailed Jinchuriki, Gaara returned to San Shinobi from Konoha alone. This is a golden opportunity to place orders and once in a lifetime. Even if they succeed, the next 3 will be the most troublesome. Black Zetsu said in a hoarse voice. 693, 2 tails and 9 tails have almost stayed in Konoha village and haven't come out much. The same is true for 8 tails. Fourth Raikage strictly prohibits that guy from leaving the village. White Zetsu then sang the double read interface. Not to mention Konoha, Cloud Shinobi is strengthened by Yèyuè Guāng and is also a strong military village. It is not easy to arrest people from there. Heavenly Dao Pain became silent rarely. About 2 minutes later, he seemed to remember something and looked at Uchiha Itachi and said, Itachi, listening to Kisame, you seem to have an appointment with a Uchiha survivor in 3 months to fight. Hoshigaki Kisame is Uchiha Itachi's teammate on the surface, but in fact he is also a watcher. Naturally, all actions of Uchiha Itachi will be reported. This is my personal business. Uchiha Itachi is indifferent Kaido. What's more, I have already caught 4 tails, there is no need to grab another one, right? The basic policy of the tail beast capture plan is to capture 1 for each member of the organization. Uchiha Itachi caught 4 tails Jinchuriki who was wandering outside. What do you want to do? Advertisement Hoshigaki Kisame, instead of Uchiha Itachi, asked Tendo Pen's intentions. Uchiha Spring, right? That Uchiha survivor, Basidi. Heaven Pain squinted Rinnegan and said, she seems to be a confidant of Yèyuè Guāng, this matter seems to be used. Just when Tiandao Pain was talking to herself, suddenly, White Zetsu's expression changed slightly and said to everyone. There was information from my clone just now, Sasori and Deidara, as well as the 4 fools of Kakuzu and Hidan, failed. The expressions of the 6 Akatsuki members present changed drastically. What's the situation? They attacked especially when 1 tail and 5 tails were placed in orders. Can such an advantage fail? When did Akatsuki's regular members become so abolished? Seeing the surprise on the faces of the members of the organization, White Zetsu quickly explained. Deidara's explosive idiot lost to 1-tailed Jinchuriki, but Sasori was already trying to catch the opponent, but at the last critical juncture, 5th Kazekage Hakura led the increase. Then why did Kakuzu and Hidan fail? Conan asked coldly. Although these 2 guys are almost at the bottom of Akatsuki's comprehensive strengths. But the abilities are all overcast. Without knowing their abilities, even if it is a strong cage level peak, they might be killed by them. He ran away. White Zetsu responded. What? Conan thought he had heard the wrong question. Literally, 5 tails Jinchuriki seems to realize that Kakuzu and Hidan's abilities are troublesome, so they didn't get too entangled with them and fled completely as a beast. White Zetsu shrugged helplessly. How about the loss? Tiandao Pain's tone was extremely cold. After the guy Deidara was defeated, he really didn't have the energy to run and was killed. Sasori was lucky, almost unscathed, and evacuated smoothly. Not to mention the undead stupid, it would be troublesome to kill those 2 guys completely. Did you lose a Deidara? It's still acceptable, but it's already scared. Heavenly Pain's face was sullen. Advertisement: the 2 consecutive failed capture operations are equivalent to telling the Cloud Shinobi forces headed by Yèyuè Guāng that Akatsuki is capturing the tail beast. As a result, it will be even more difficult to find a space where Jinchuriki is alone in the future. Disband first. I think about the next course of action. Tiandao Pain was very anxious and relieved the magic lantern body technique. The 6 paths on the Gedo statue's fingers also disappeared one after another. And in the main road of communication between the Land of Fire and the Land of Land, it is in a base under the bridge of God Wubi that even Nagato and Conan don't know. It's troublesome now. White Zetsu, who was offline, said to Uchiha Obito, who was facing away from him. Yèyuè Guāng will definitely be alert. Do you think that guy Nagato can beat Yèyuè Guāng? Uchiha Obito asked abruptly. When White Zetsu heard the words, his expression was stagnant, and a few seconds later expressed regret. It's hard enough. Although he has initially mastered Madara Rinnegan's 6 abilities, the usage of assigning to 6 corpses is really tasteless, otherwise the strength will not have been pinched between cage level and Chaoing for so many years. Hey, he still has one last point of use value. Uchiha Obito sneered. Go and tell him that there will be no action in these 3 months, and Akatsuki will put the tail away for the time being. After speaking, Uchiha Obito activated Kamui to disappear. Looking at the empty cave, after a long time, White Zetsu said again. That kid Obito, what the hell seems to be making? Black Zetsu interface. Nagato is an important sacrifice left by Madara to activate the revolving heaven technique, so you can't let him do anything. Huh? But neither of us is a combat type. It's a bit hard to make Obito obediently obedient. White Zetsu blinked his eyes. You forgot how that kid got blackened. Black Zetsu laughed strangely, expressing to be yin, don't you moisturize, you Obito is still a little tender. Damn, I often hear that Yèyuè Guāng is called Obito. Run to. Which puts him wrong. Chapter 141 I like tearing more, first more seeking subscription. Mist Shinobi and Sand Shinobi had a serious incident in which Jinchuriki was nearly captured at almost the same time. Whether it is Yi Kang who is now 5th Kazekage, or Bai who is the agent of Mizukage. After learning about this, they immediately reported their foreign exchange to Yèyuè Guāng, who was their backer. In the center of the Naruto office, there's the remains of Deidara who was defeated by Gaara and later killed by Yi Kang who came to reinforce him. His whole body was burned to mummy by scorched style. After relocating Gaara back to Sunagakure, Yi Kang brought his subordinates and brought the corpse to Yèyuè Guāng. Bai also personally revised the book and sent a letter to Yèyuè Guāng, telling him that Kimimaro was out on duty. He was almost taken away by a strange duo wearing a red cloud uniform with a black background. Master Everbright, the investigation is clear. At this time, Uchiha Kwan, wearing an Embu vest suit, flashed to the side of Yèyuè Guāng, reporting. Except for the 3 tails Jinchuriki Yagura, which was taken away by Uchiha Itachi 2 years ago, 4 tails Jinchuriki Laozi, the 6 tails Jinchuriki Foam, and the 7 tails human column Kafu who was attacked some time ago, all were arrested. In other words, this organization has already acquired 4 of the 9 big-tailed beasts? Jiraiya, who rarely returned to Konoha, said to himself, touching his chin. 2 years ago, he inquired about the intelligence of this organization. At that time, it was just a mercenary rebel organization. Unexpectedly, the 4 tail beasts could be taken away with such a thunderous momentum. Send this guy back to Old Man Onogi. This was his disciple before he rebelled against the village. Yèyuè Guāng waved his hand, motioning to bring the scorching corpse. Teacher, do you want to do more with this organization? Hinata was next to Yèyuè Guāng and asked softly. It's also a good way to take the initiative to attack, but we still don't know where they're hiding. Speaking of Akatsuki, Terumi Mei's charming face is full of fire. After all, it was Akatsuki who turned Mist Shinobi into the culprit. Moreover, the handwritten letter sent by Bai mentioned that Terumi Mei would return to Mist Shinobi to preside over the overall situation immediately. He was afraid that Akatsuki would attack Kirigakure again in an attempt to take Kimimaro away. It really became like this. Kirigakure, whose vitality has not yet been restored, could not be resisted. Terumi Mei must go back to preside over the administration. Mrs. Konoha Donkuo was called back within 2 days. Terumi Mei has exploded in anger. My old mother has a wonderful married life. I know where their nests are, but I'm not sure if they can gain anything. Advertisement. Yèyuè Guāng twisted the bridge of his nose and thought about it. Gaara, Kimimaro, and Killer Bee, the weird flower, are now transferred to Konoha for me. They are not allowed to leave Konoha until Akatsuki is completely wiped out. Everyone was stunned when they heard the words. Obviously, Yèyuè Guāng is to concentrate all Jinchuriki in one place. This is a good way. If you hug each other, you won't be alone like Gaara and Kun Machangro before, giving each other a chance to get in. Mabui agreed. Yi Kang nodded. Well, I have no objection. Terumi Mei's eyes lit up. May I continue to live in Konoha, right? Go back to Mist Shinobi. There are so many things now. As the head of the village, Yu Langhu, can you think about something serious? Sam Yi said. What are you talking about? Only the big moon Huns who can't move. Terumi Mei was not convinced. I have said everything. It is the most comfortable to be with me. Jiraiya, Kakashi and others left the office silently. What are these tiger and wolf words? If they stay, they are afraid that they will be silenced. Okay, don't tear it up, please. Yèyuè Guāng only feels his head is big. After getting married, this group of women likes to tear up more. If you really live together in the future, what about it? But you can't keep them in Konoha for a lifetime, right, Lord Everbright? Entangled by wooden golem. Especially because of the personality of a grown-up. After keeping him locked up for a long time, who knows what he will do? It won't take long, and the top sky will be more than a year. Yèyuè Guāng waved his hand. If that guy dared to mess around, he wouldn't have the energy to fight. Hikari, you haven't said where the headquarters of the Akatsuki organization is. Yi Kang reminded. All of them were certified, so naturally she would not add honorific titles to the other party's address. It's up to Jiraiya and I to go in Rain Shinobi. You all go back and wait. -0 seeking flowers. Advertisement. Yèyuè Guāng thought for a while. Thinking of the relationship between Nagato and Konan, and bringing Jiraiya over to let the pair of masters and disciples recognize each other, some strange chemical reactions might happen in the future. As Yèyuè Guāng was thinking, he discovered that the girls included Sammy and Yi Kang, such a deadly and serious character. They all looked at themselves with a devilish expression. What's wrong? Yèyuè Guāng couldn't help raising his eyebrows. Uncle Guāng, are you right? Take Master Jiraiya? Don't you take a woman? Hanabi was the first to jump out and ask questions. Yèyuè Guāng instantly understood why these ladies look at themselves with such eyes. Immediately squeezed the sides of Hanabi's face with one hand, pulled it to the sides like a mochi, and sneered. In your eyes, I am such a person who thinks from below. It hurts, again, I don't want to wash my puppets and think so, big, everyone thinks like this. Hanabi begged for mercy with tears. The girls turned their faces to the other side involuntarily. Send by to Konoha. In the Raikage office of Cloud Shinobi Village, Fourth Raikage, who listened to the report from the assistant Tutai, suddenly widened his eyes. Yes, Lord Raikage. Tutai nodded and said, according to the statement in the letter from Master Digwang, the organization called Shao has already focused on the tail beasts, and all of them have good strength. In order to ensure the safety of the Jinchuriki, it is better to concentrate and take care of them. Cut. This brat, is it saying that Cloud Shinobi is not as safe as Konoha? Fourth Raikage was rather unhappy. Then Lord Raikage, what do you mean? Tutai couldn't help but wonder, did Lord Raikage object to the meaning of Lord Everbright? Send it. However, Raikage's answer couldn't help making Tutai a black line, and in the end he still wanted to send it. The same thing happened to San Shinobi and Mist Shinobi. Gaara, who is one-tailed Jinchuriki, and Kimimaro of five tails Jinchuriki, went to Konoha in collaboration with the elite. Terumi Mei, who has returned to Kirigakure, said that his heart was bleeding. When will the day when he retires to his hometown and becomes Mrs. Kuo? Chapter 142. The atmosphere was very embarrassing for a time, see Chapter 2 for subscription. The country of rain. A country that has been eroded by rain all the year round is in stark contrast to the country of wind and its neighbors, where the sky is full of yellow sand. The last time I came here was during the Second Ninja World War. It's been almost 20 years, right? Jiraiya, who was walking side by side with Yèyuè Guāng, sighed with emotion, and said with a bit of confusion on his expression. However, Akatsuki's headquarters is in Rain Shinobi Village. I really did not expect that the guy Hanzo of the Salamander is a guy who is extremely repellent to outsiders. Will he allow such a powerful organization to exist on his own territory? Since the rule of Hanzo of the Salamander, Rain Shinobi Village has always adopted an extreme closed-door policy. And Nagato also continued this management method. As a result, people other than the villagers living in Rain Shinobi Village have no idea that Rain Shinobi Village has already changed owners. The Hanzo of the Salamander has long since returned to the west. However, Yèyuè Guāng didn't bother to explain these long talks to Jiraiya. When the 693 arrives, you will know everything. It's not raining, it's really rare. When I walked to the top of the mountain, I saw a village in the distance where the weather was gloomy, but there was no raindrops. Jiraiya couldn't help but sigh. It's really rare. I remember that during the Second Ninja War, when Tsunade and Orochimaru were fighting in the land of rain, the rain never stopped. Didn't it rain? Yèyuè Guāng's eyes are slightly empty. I remember that Guy Nagato used Rinnegan's Rain Tiger Free technique to achieve artificial rainfall. Once an unfamiliar chakra enters the village and is touched by rain, you can immediately perceive its existence. Even Yèyuè Guāng did not expect to enter Rain Shinobi Village without being noticed by Nagato. Although he didn't intend to sneak in, wouldn't it be enough to just walk in? The so-called infiltration is to kill all the people who saw oneself. In addition to natural rainfall, Rain Shinobi Village now has artificial rainfall in Nagato. It stands to reason that there are very few moments for stopping the rain. What a coincidence, when he and Jiraiya just came, they ran into each other. I have a bad feeling. Lightning Flint, when Jiraiya sighed, he saw that Yèyuè Guāng had turned into a flash of thunder, dashing along the sky towards the highest iron tower in Rain Shinobi Village. Hey, what are you doing in such a hurry? Jiraiya was surprised when he saw this, but didn't think much about it, and hurried to catch up. The time was set a few minutes ago. At this time, Rain Shinobi Village is still in the daily state of heavy rain. The tallest iron tower in the middle of the village is the top of the iron tower where Lord Pain, who is known as the God, lives. Want to transfer? Hearing the proposal of Uchiha Madara, the masked man on the opposite side, Konan and Tiandao Pain couldn't help but frown. Uchiha Madara proposed to abandon Rain Shinobi Village and move Nagato's residence. Advertisement. This makes Konan and Nagato, who control Pain, extremely unhappy. Uchiha Madara gave up Kirigakure once before. They didn't care that time. After all, they have no affection for Kirigakure. The Rain Shinobi Village is different. Both Nagato and Konan were born in Rain Shinobi, and this is their hometown. Asking them to abandon this place is definitely not something that can be easily sat there. The latest information I just got, Yèyuè Guāng has transferred the other three Jinchuriki to Konoha. Uchiha Obito still focused chakra on the throat, imitating Uchiha Madara's voice, and said, the location of the Rain Shinobi base has been exposed. I think it's just a matter of time. It's better to transfer it as soon as possible. Konan frowned slightly, rather unhappy. Your reason is not enough to let us abandon the village that has been so many years infused with countless efforts. The most important thing for Akatsuki is to collect the tail beasts, and now Yèyuè Guāng concentrates the remaining 5 tail beasts in Konoha, which makes it difficult for us to start. Uchiha Obito sternly said. Pain is Akatsuki's highest combat power. If something happens to you, the plan will be over. Konan's face was dark, and he turned to look at Heavenly Dao Pain. For her, it doesn't matter what real peace is. Since Yahiko's death, she has made it her goal to follow Nagato. It is quite similar to the relationship between Bai and Zai Yuzan in the original work. Whether to abandon Rain Shinobi Village is still up to Nagato. Although after the death of Yahiko, the character gradually moved closer to pervert and anti-human. But Nagato is still not as frantic as Runtu. He was also struggling to hear that Uchiha Madara was about to abandon his hometown. After Rain Shinobi Village gives up, you can take it back. If you have an accident, the Tail Beast plan will never be executed. Uchiha Obito throws the last straw. Nagato, who controls Pen behind the scenes, gritted his teeth through the mouth of the dead Yahiko. I see, then move on. Konan instinctively felt that the guy, Madara, had no good intentions. There is absolutely no good intention to propose to transfer the base at this time. But after moving and leaking, she didn't say much. Forget it, as long as you stay with Nagato to protect him. 0. Soon, under the leadership of Konan, Uchiha Obito entered the inner room. It has been a long time since I saw Nagato who was skinny. The whole body was filled with a feeling of death in the next second. Yoshi, then let's go. Advertisement. The space at the eyeholes of Uchiha Obito's mask began to twist like Uzumaki. He also took away Nagato himself, including Pen's 6 paths under his command, and Konan, an assistant and bodyguard. Hey, Yèyuè Guāng is here. Move quickly. At this time, a white Zetsu clone emerged from the floor and shouted to remind. Astonishment flashed across the faces of the 3 official Akatsuki members. Especially Uchiha Obito. He just found any reason to protect the fool Nagato. I didn't expect Yèyuè Guāng to find this. How does he know that Nagato and Konan are here? Is it pride from the dead Deidara's mind? It's not right? Deidara doesn't know either. Wow. The white Zetsu clone had just finished saying this. A ray of electric arc slashed across, splitting his body in 2 from the throat. I saw an unexpected situation again. Look at Uchiha Obito, who is performing Kamui, preparing to leave with false gods and angels. Although Yèyuè Guāng couldn't guess what the licking dog wanted to do for a while. But at least it is certain that Akatsuki's plan to capture the tail beast has completely changed the execution steps. Forget it, don't leave, I'll kill you here. Yèyuè Guāng made a leisurely sound, and the index finger of his right hand was slightly tilted. The iron sand gushing from the ground, walls, and even the air, like countless monsters, rushed towards the 3 people in the middle of 2.3. More powerful than Sasori, it takes longer to transfer Nagato, Konan, and 6 paths pain at once than to transfer yourself lightly. Just when Uchiha Obito yelled badly in his heart, an idea came to light in my mind. In an instant, the space where Konan was standing was distorted again, and instantly returned to reality. Clam? Uchiha Obito's sudden act of God showed Yèyuè Guāng and Konan next to him. After dropping a person, Kamui's launch speed naturally increased. Instantly transferred himself, Nagato and other 6 paths pain, and left. Only Yèyuè Guāng and Konan remained at the scene. The atmosphere was very embarrassing. Chapter 143 Abandoned Angel, 3rd More Seeking Subscription. Okay, let's talk about it. What's the situation? Yèyuè Guāng sat in the place originally belonged to the Heavenly Path Pen, looking directly at the woman in front of him who was respected as an angel by the people of Rain Shinobi Village. Konan at this moment is firmly bound by Yèyuè Guāng with iron sand chains. Originally Konan could also use a similar elemental paper form to escape. However, only 1 round was played. Konan was completely defeated and let the opponent restrain. The main reason is that she was not obedient just now, so Yèyuè Guāng directly controlled the iron sand chain and used a tortoiseshell binding method. I was abandoned. Konan lowered his head to bite the drink with his upper teeth, and responded with extreme indignation. Yèyuè Guāng was about to ask again. At this time, another figure jumped into the iron tower window, complaining. Really, what are you doing so fast? When I saw the woman in front of Yèyuè Guāng who was tied to the ground by iron sand. Jiraiya's first reaction was emotion. I'll go, this guy doesn't need a woman to accompany him everywhere. There are obviously a few beautiful wives in the family, and still want to steal incense outside? Admire and admire. However, within half a second, Jiraiya realized the problem again. 10. This woman with an indifferent expression and gorgeous features with high coldness gradually overlapped with the face of the girl who always smiled and washed origami in Jiraiya's impression. Xiao's clothes, this you, are you Konan? Jiraiya opened his mouth and said in an incredible tone. In fact, this is a stupid question. The uniform of the other party's black background and red clouds is enough to explain everything. It's just that Jiraiya couldn't imagine Konan, the mildest character of the 3. How can I become a member of Akatsuki? The teacher didn't understand what we experienced after that. Konan rolled his face to the other side coldly. However, she hadn't waited a few seconds for her to maintain such a cold posture. I only felt that my back collar was caught, and my whole person was lifted in the air. Who is holding the back of my fate? Advertisement. Looking at Yèyuè Guāng next to him, Conan's dark eyes were surprised. It doesn't matter what your past is, what's important is the present. Yèyuè Guāng cursed his way. What do you want to do? Jiraiya twisted her eyebrows, worried. It has not been seen for almost 20 years, Conan has also grown into a big beauty. Combine Yèyuè Guāng's famous temperament. Jiraiya has an ominous premonition. Where did you want to go? Idiot, I just want to get Akatsuki's information out of her mouth. Yèyuè Guāng cast a sideways glance at the other person. If you don't say it, use Mangekyo to force her to say it. The death of the woman in the original is also quite bleak. Is she a blessing in disguise? It might not be appropriate to say, woman? It can be seen from the experience of the official Yèyuè. After all, think about it, Yahiko died early, and Nagato became that virtue after Yahiko died. Still a girl, 35-year-old girl, good boy, a little bit strong. The main communication route between the land of fire and the land of earth is in the underground caves of the Bridge of the Gods. Madara, why don't you save Conan? Nagato, who was skinny and had been in the chakra instrument for more than 2 decades, roared furiously. At the same time, Six Paths Pain rushed to Uchiha Obito in an instant, all with expressions of murderous intent. Apparently, Uchiha Obito dared to say a word that did not suit his wishes, and Nagato would control the Six Pens to attack without hesitation. With your ability, it's impossible not to see it. In that case, if you don't abandon her, we will all be there in the end. Uchiha Obito has no guilty conscience or fluctuations in his tone, and his hands are environmentally friendly. I chose to abandon him to save you, don't beat him down. Send me back to Rain Shinobi Village, I'm going to save Conan. Although temporarily letting go of his murderous intent on Madara, Nagato's excitement was still not comforted when he thought that Conan was alone there. As the main body, Nagato cannot control them too far from Pen Six Paths. Therefore, every time Pen Six Paths has a major action, the body will also move with it. In the past, Conan used paper to take care of the transportation of the Nagato body. Advertisement, impossible. Doing that will only confess to you. I don't think Yèyuè Guāng has come all the way and Rain Shinobi is alone. Uchiha Obito said that Laozi finally fooled you out, and also left Conan's troublesome nanny. Where can I find such a good opportunity? Don't worry, that guy's purpose is to pry Akatsuki's information from Conan. It won't hurt her life in a short time. I will save her as soon as I get the chance. Hearing this answer, Nagato's face was pale, but there was no rebuttal for the moment. Lost Conan who helped him move his body, most of Nagato's mobility was abolished. Although there are 6 pen in his control, he can still play the power between the peak of cage level and the super shadow. But in terms of mobility, it is still inferior to Conan of Paper Escape. A few days later, Konoha village, Conan, who was escorted over, did not resist much. He quickly confessed that the masked man tried to make her and Nagato defend Rain Shinobi Village, before and after the transfer of the base. For Conan, it doesn't matter to her whether the Tail Beast seizure plan or what the masked man is working on does not matter to her. She just assisted her now only friend Nagato with 693 to fulfill his wish. This is Conan's only goal in life till now. That guy Nagato may be alive soon. Yèyuè Guāng did not guess what Run 2 wanted to do. After all, it is impossible to speculate with common sense about what a mentally ill person wants to do. But at least it is certain that he has no good intentions. If there is Conan, the nanny by his side, maybe Nagato didn't die so quickly, but Conan is no longer there. Nagato is afraid that he won't live for a few days. In the Shimura clan, no, a room in the Cloud Shinobi residential area is reserved for her to live in. Yèyuè Guāng makes a decision to dispose of Conan. It's fine if you don't kill or lock it up. After all, it's Akatsuki. I don't know if she will use her brains, oh yeah. Killer Bee, who has moved from Cloud Shinobi to Konoha, hums a strange rap tune. She didn't do anything that hurts the world and reason, and she has no ambitions. Since I didn't do anything to you, I think you will repay me too, right, Miss Angel? Yèyuè Guāng said to the back and turned his eyes to Conan. Conan coldly turned his head to the other side. However, after sending Conan away, Yèyuè Guāng specifically confessed to Wooden Golem and Uchiha Spring who also lived in that area. The meaning is clear. Stare at her. Chapter 144 Classmate Death Fight, Sasuke's Entanglement, 4th More Seeking Subscription. 3 months passed in a flash. What Ling Ninja World didn't expect was 4 tail beasts were captured in a row before. Cloud Shinobi, who disturbed Shinobi in the chaos, calmed down. And it's not just quiet, it can be said that they can't find their shadows. After a few months, there was no movement. Conan planned to follow the trail of Nagato through Akatsuki's actions. No way to start for a while. 8 ga yeah, buckle yeah, too boring. Master 8 Tails is going out to play. Although Konoha was very excited at first, but after a long time, Killer Bee's bizarre trouble will begin to be overwhelmed. I was clamoring and wanted to sneak out of the village to do things. Puff. Yèyuè Guāng walked over from behind and slammed his foot on his leather crotch. He could understand how tired his cousin was in keeping with this second man all day. After the matter is resolved, I immediately threw this product back to Cloud Shinobi Village. I never wanted to see this idiot again. Eduo-sang, Anbu has not found out any news of Akatsuki recently. Hinata obediently followed Yèyuè Guāng and reported. That guy Runtu can really hide, but unfortunately that schizophrenia has nothing to care about, otherwise he can infer what he wants to do based on clues. Yèyuè Guāng and Hinata walk side by side in the streets of Konoha. The two go together, so that any outsider who doesn't know them can see it. I would never think that this is a foster father and daughter. Huh? 5 or 5, where do you go? Kakashi, who was walking in front of him with a bunch of flowers in his hand, suddenly found out. Yèyuè Guāng asked subconsciously. Master Everbright, and Master Fifth Hokage. Kakashi stopped immediately and replied in awe. Today is Lin's Memorial Day, I'm going to visit her. Kakashi waved the white lily in his hand twice, and said with a sad expression. Killing one's most cherished object with his own hands will surely be the pain of anyone's life. Rin Nohara. Yèyuè Guāng touched his chin. Speaking of it, isn't Runtu blackened because of her? Although she is a bloodless girl, she has changed the direction of the whole world in a certain way. Advertisement, it's amazing. But on the other hand, she is also unfortunate. In the final analysis, she is just a victim of the Uchiha Madara project, a tool for Uchiha Obito to blacken the southern border area of Konoha village, Uchiha tribe land. After experiencing the Uchiha genocide, this place once became a subclan of the Sarutobi clan. After Yèyuè Guāng regained this place, it was transformed into a new business district. A considerable part of the tax collected was paid to the 2 Uchiha survivors who currently exist in the village. Uchiha Spring and Uchiha Sasuke, the only one that belongs to the Uchiha family and survived. Only Nanga Shrine, which has been handed down since the Sengoku era, is left. In the secret room under the tatami, Uchiha Spring, wearing black-rimmed glasses, reflected her youthful and lovely face under the shining of candles on both sides. But the expression is indeed extremely cold. The 3-hooked jade in the blood pupil suddenly turned into a cross-shaped dart Mangekyo Sharingan. Looking at the stone monument that Uchiha has been passed down from generation to generation in front of you. The above content must be used in order of Sharingan, Mangekyo Sharingan, Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and Rinnegan. In order to fully understand one after another, Sharingan can interpret the method to open Mangekyo Sharingan from above. Kill the loved ones. And what Uchiha Spring can interpret now is the way to awaken Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Mangekyo Sharingan is bound to be blind in the future based on the frequency of use. But if you want to be always bright, you must transplant the Mangekyo of your dearest relatives. She couldn't interpret the following content, although she didn't care about the content on the stone tablet. What I want to do now is to avenge my mother. Thinking of this, Uchiha Izumi put a pair of robe hanging next to him on his body, turned and left the shrine. After 3 months, the agreed day of death has arrived. When Uchiha Izumi walked out of the shrine, I found that someone had already been waiting for him at the gate of the shrine. Uchiha Sasuke. Spring. The tangled color on Uchiha Sasuke's face has not disappeared. To be precise, it has been almost 3 years since 2 years ago. After he learned the truth about Uchiha's genocide 3 years ago. I have been entangled and struggled every day. Advertisement. The image is quite different from the second pillar in the original work that was always stunned by John Long Aoshin's expression all day long. Are you going, Sister Quan? Uchiha Sasuke's expression was full of bitterness. My mother was killed, Sasuke, and so is your mother, Mrs. Mikoto. Uchiha Izumi's expressionless Kaido. Uchiha Sasuke's face is more bitter, I know. I won't persuade you anymore, after all, I also know how much you admire him. Uchiha Spring walked over the other's shoulder, but once you make a decision, you must be awakened. I felt a hurricane caused by Uchiha Spring walking by my side. Uchiha Sasuke turned to look. A few seconds later, he gritted his teeth and chased after the opponent's back. The Uchiha duo went one after the other when they were about to arrive at the Konoha main gate. It happened to meet Yèyuè Guāng and Hinata who were talking in the middle of the street, and Kakashi across from them. Master Everbright. Uchiha Quan took the initiative to meet him. Quan, how do you dress like this? Oh, it's already this day. Yèyuè Guāng noticed that Uchiha Quan was dressed up for a long journey and subconsciously asked. But halfway through the question, I suddenly remembered the death battle between her and Uchiha Itachi. Guāng knew oh good. Sasuke. Kakashi noticed the disciple following Uchiha Izumi, frowning subconsciously. Knowing the truth about Uchiha's extermination, he can also imagine how entangled his disciple is now. If Sasuke finally chooses to stand on Uchiha Itachi's side, then... Kakashi didn't dare to think further. Let's go. Yèyuè Guāng rubbed the mole under Uchiha Quan's eye socket, then patted Hinata's head again and said. Please take care of the house, Hinata. Got it, Odosen. Hinata nodded obediently. Really see Yèyuè Guāng is also ready to participate in this matter. The sharp-minded Kakashi suddenly realized that if things were not done right, the situation would develop in the direction he least wanted. But what should I do? Just like when Obito and Lin died, can you just watch? Chapter 145 Shao Kang Organization, 5th more seeking subscription. Sasuke. Seeing that Uchiha Sasuke was about to leave with Yèyuè Guāng and Uchiha Spring, Kakashi subconsciously called his name. Leave me alone. Uchiha Sasuke paused, but he only hesitated for half a second, and then quickly followed the two men. However, it disappeared into Kakashi's field of vision in an instant. After Hinata watched Yèyuè Guāng leave, and Kakashi nodded politely. As Hokage's assistant, Mabui rushed over and signaled Hinata to be busy and took him away. In the end, Kakashi could only come to Konoha's cemetery without a master. Walking all the way to the tombstone of Yi Yuan Lin, put down the flower and said with a sorrow. "Can I still do nothing, Lin?" Kakashi said a lot in front of the tombstone alone. It wasn't until the sunset that I finally left. As soon as Kakashi walked on his front foot, a bundle of pitcher plants emerged from the ground in the mausoleum. The pitcher plant slowly opened from the middle, and White Zetsu was speechless. Really, what does this guy wearing a mask say for so long? TMD annoys me to death. Stop trembling, hurry up and do business, Black Zetsu grinned. Runtu guy is still a little tender, ha ha ha. White Zetsu smirked. Good guys, all were led by Yèyuè Guāng. They all began to call Uchi 697 Wave Obito, Rapto. Yèyuè Guāng took Uchiha Spring and Uchiha Sasuke and left Konoha almost at the same time. In the underground cave under the Shenwubi Bridge. Uchiha Obito came here for a long time to meet Nagato, who was placed here. The chance to retake Konan is here. Noting Nagato's unkind eyes, Uchiha Obito went straight into the road. Real. An obvious surprise appeared in Nagato's eyes, but he immediately added a bit of suspicion, repeating the two words just now. Real. The first time was surprise and excitement, and the second time was suspicion and resentment. Obviously, these two Akatsuki organizations are the two leaders in the open and secret areas. Ideas have begun to diverge. Advertisement, although this disagreement has always been there, it just broke out because of Conan's relationship. Of course, and it's still a good time to kill two birds with one stone, and to complete the tail beast capture plan. Uchiha Obito confidently said, Yèyuè Guāng has taken Uchiha Spring to the Uchiha Sengoku ruins on the southwest border of the Fire Country, ready to start a duel between Uchiha Spring and Itachi. So what? Rinnegan in Nagato's vacant eyes asked rhetorically. Yèyuè Guāng is in a state of order, and it is a good time to solve him. Uchiha Obito laughed and said, Uchiha Quan has Itachi coping with it, and now he is not with Yèyuè Hinata, Yi Kang or Terumi Mei and other cage-level powerhouses. With your strength, coupled with Rinnegan's ability has not yet been exposed, the possibility of defeating him is extremely high. Having said that, the laughter in Uchiha Obito's tone became more exaggerated. As long as he is solved, the 5 Jinchuriki who are now staying at Konoha will not be a problem. Naturally, it will be easy to retake Konan. There was still doubt in Nagato's eyes, but at the same time, the frowning eyebrows also expressed. He has no second choice now. The southwestern part of the Country of Fire, close to the border area of the country of Sichuan. After passing through a thick forest, the remains of the Uchiha clan have remained since the Sengoku era. It is said that the Uchiha clan land under the leadership of Uchiha Madara was located here. I have waited for this day, for too long. Uchiha Izumi secretly squeezed the powder fist and strode to buy the ruins that have withstood the corrosion of the years. And Uchiha Sasuke's heart was throbbing nervously. Almost the next second, it will jump out of the throat. When I walked into an ancestral hall that was similar to the main hall of Uchiha Nanga Shrine, but with a much wider area. The 3 people saw that a huge Uchiha flame fan was engraved on the central wall. And on the throne below it, Uchiha Itachi, wearing a symbolic cloak of the Akatsuki organization, was sitting there quietly, waiting for the appointment, Beisidi, to arrive. Uchiha Itachi spoke indifferently. Are you here? Did you bring outsiders? Facing the terrifying Yèyuè Guāng, Uchiha Itachi's poker face did not show much change. On the contrary, when I saw Uchiha Sasuke, even his expression did not change much. However, the pupils in the eyeballs suddenly tightened. Yèyuè Guāng has nothing to say to the filial son. Advertisement lifting his fingers slightly, endless iron sand emerged from the ground. Cut the ceiling of this ancestral hall like tofu. Yèyuè Guāng flashed momentarily before sitting at the incision, holding his cheek with one hand as if watching a movie, with a mysterious smile on his face, watching the 3 people below. The trend of this battle, even a traverser like him, could not predict. Nissan, at this moment, the second pillar finally spoke. When he heard his address as a dutiful son, Uchiha Izumi frowned, and Uchiha Itachi's face changed drastically. On the other hand, Yèyuè Guāng has a smile in his eyes. This is the best combination of brother control and brocon. Had it not been for myself and Uchiha Quan, I would be like Might Guy and Xiao Li. Embracing each other warmly in the setting sun, right? Nissan, look back. Uchiha Sasuke suddenly became extremely excited and rushed to the middle of the two and shouted. I already know the truth, Nissan, you are also forced, aren't you? Why do you have to fight Sister Quan to death and life? Uchiha is only left with the 3 of us, and now you two want it again. As if to explode the negative information that had been suppressed in my heart for the past 3 years. Uchiha Sasuke said a lot of words in one breath. To sum up, I hope Uchiha Itachi will turn back to the shore, and I hope Uchiha Spring will not care about the previous complaints. Sasuke, it is your business to forgive him, but you are not qualified to forgive me. Uchiha Quan pushed aside the 2 pillars between him and Uchiha Itachi and said coldly. Like the Master Everbright said, I don't think about so many things, let alone understand your reasons for doing that kind of thing. Uchiha Izumi's eyes gradually changed from the black pupil in the daily form to 3 Tomo Sharingan, and while looking straight at Uchiha Itachi, he took off the robe he was wearing. The Anbu vest inside appeared, and the cold voice said again. I know one thing, you killed my mother, and I want to avenge her now, it's that simple. Sister Quan. Uchiha Sasuke cried out, about to cry. Get out of the way. Uchiha Quan directly threw a flying Thunder God trigeminal kunai, brushed it from Uchiha Sasuke's ear, cut off a strand of his hair, and nailed it deeply into the back wall. Yes, it should be done. Uchiha Itachi also slowly stood up from the throne. Peel off the collar of Akatsuki's uniform and enter a fighting state. Today, the two of us can only walk out of this ruin alone. Chapter 146 Revenge of Uchiha Quan, 6th more seeking subscription. Ms. Kakashi. Let's have ramen together. Seeing that the setting sun was about to fall to the horizon, not long after Kakashi walked out of the cemetery, he encountered Xiaoqiang, led by Naruto, plus Haruno Sakura and Inujaya. Ms. Kakashi, have you seen Sasuke? I have been looking for him for a long time, but I haven't seen anyone. Haruno Sakura, who is the #1 dog licker in Urzuzi, just speaks and knows that there must be Sasuke in the words. Kakashi's eyes lit up when he saw all the Xiaoqiangs. There is no way to stop the tragedy that may come, but they may be. Especially Naruto, his bond with Sasuke may be able to play an unexpected role. Sasuke, he went out with Everbright and Uchiha Spring. After making up his mind, Kakashi quickly informed Naruto and others of what happened a few hours ago. Miss Izumi is going to a duel with Sasuke's brother. After listening to Kakashi's description, Yamanaka Ino was the first to stare in surprise. As Konoha's current captain of Anbu, Uchiha Izumi is also considered a celebrity in the village. In weekdays, I feel like a beautiful and kind big sister. But I didn't expect such a thing to happen, Nara Shikamaru keenly guessed. The tragedy of Uchiha back then, Miss Izumi too. Kakashi nodded solemnly. Well, her mother was killed by Uchiha Itachi. Then, what's the danger in Sasuke, Mr. Kakashi? Naruto said anxiously. With Ashura's ancestral IQ, he still doesn't quite understand the reason. Uchiha Itachi has been the object of Sasuke's vision since childhood. Kakashi sighed. If Izumi and Uchiha Itachi fight to the end and Sasuke chooses to stand by Itachi, what do you think will happen? With this question, even Naruto realized what Kakashi was worried about. Sister Izumi will not give up revenge. I am afraid she will also consider Sasuke a goal. Yamanaka Ino pressed his lips. Moreover, the Everbright people will not sit idly by. Tenten, who has become more and more Chinese style, keenly said. Presumably they will bring the two brothers together. Tenten did not say the last few words, but everyone can guess. Ms. Kakashi. Where is the fighting location? Naruto exclaimed anxiously. The Uchiha ruins in the southwest of the Fire Country. Kakashi Kaido. Advertisement. When he got the answer, Naruto didn't say a word, and turned into an afterimage, daring to go outside. Haruno Sakura followed closely behind, but her speed is still too far from Naruto. The other Xiaoqiang looked at each other, and finally caught up. Although they have a normal relationship with Uchiha Sasuke, they still default to him as a companion in their hearts. The Uchiha site in the southwest of the Fire Country. Uchiha Spring and Uchiha Itachi, who stood opposite each other, turned on 3 Tomo Sharingan at the same time. The next moment, Uchiha Quan suddenly took out 6 flying Thunder God kunai, sandwiched between his fingers, and suddenly threw them at Uchiha Itachi. And during the flight of trigeminal kunai, the seal was quickly sealed. Hundreds of trigeminal kuwu have been derived. It's hard to tell which one is the deity. Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. The girl Quan, did she use her full strength from the beginning? Yèyuè Guāng said with interest. Fire-style Great Fireball Technique. The Uchiha Itachi on the opposite side is a large-scale Great Fireball that uses one-handed seals and uses the largest range directly, covering almost the entire ancestral hall. Boom boom boom. Isolate all those trigeminal kunai from a dangerous distance. The endless trigeminal kuma disappeared without a trace under the high temperature of the flame, turning into white smoke. Gone. When the Great Fireball dissipated and Uchiha Itachi looked forward again. But I found that Uchiha Spring, which was originally opposite to me, had disappeared. Delete. There was a breaking wind. Uchiha Itachi followed the voice and turned his head to look. I found that the 6 flying thunder gods were wounded by the silk thread, scraping out a turning arc, almost against the wall, attacking themselves from the left and right ends. And Uchiha Spring, also turned into a flash of shadow, shuttled through those tridents. It made it difficult for Uchiha Itachi to tell whether the opponent would attack from the left or the right. When Uchiha Itachi, the 3-pointed karma from the left and the right, has no more than half a meter left. The afterimage of Uchiha Spring appeared on the right. Uchiha Sasuke, who started the observation of 3 Tomo Sharingan, subconsciously exclaimed. It's on the right. -0 seeking flowers. Uchiha Itachi also took out a handful without resistance. Advertisement. However, the last moment. The shadow of Uchiha Spring flashed suddenly, appeared on the left side of Uchiha Itachi, picked up the flying Thunder God kunai in midair, and stabbed Uchiha Itachi in the forehead. It's on the left. Uchiha Sasuke was shocked. If you change yourself to fight with Sister Quan, you are already dead, right? I'm waiting for this time. When Uchiha Itachi turned his head, his left eye suddenly turned into a triangular windmill. Mangekyo Sharingan. Did Uchiha Itachi use these eyes first? In an instant, Yèyuè Guāng could only feel the time before his eyes go round and round. The ancestral hall, which was originally a battlefield, turned into a dark world full of crows and blood. In this dark world, Yèyuè Guāng just felt that he could not move. Uchiha Itachi on the opposite side walked leisurely and said coldly, "In the world of Tsukuyomi, time and space are my master." When I found Uchiha Spring, the poker face was filled with a hint of intolerance, and he said solemnly, "I'm going to die soon, and this battle was originally intended to die in your hands, but I have a request." "UTMD, shut up," Uchiha Spring, who couldn't move, said with an unprecedented swearing. "Don't make an expression of being a victim of your own affairs, it makes me sick." Uchiha Itachi frowned tightly, but still calmly said, "I said, in this world, I am a god, and time and space are up to me." "Ah." Uchiha Izumi disdainfully laughed. In the next instant, the whole person turned into an endless flame and spread out. Uchiha Itachi's face changed slightly, this fire-style shadow clone. She developed it herself. Compared with the ordinary shadow clone, the special shadow clone with the attribute chakra will consume more chakra. But at the same time, it is also less noticeable. Among them, Senju Hashirama's wood-style clone has fooled Uchiha Madara's eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. "Do you think I will not guard your Tsukuyomi?" The cold voice of Uchiha Spring came from outside. Uchiha Itachi exited the Tsukuyomi world as quickly as possible. Immediately afterwards, I saw Uchiha Spring holding a trigeminal kunai tightly and breaking the wind stab at him. Flying Thunder God / Killing Technique, again. Chapter 147 Runaway Uchiha Spring, first more seeking subscription. When I saw the trigeminal kunai in my hand, I was about to pierce Uchiha Itachi's head. Uchiha Spring shouted in his heart, "Success!" Clang. However, in the next moment, it seemed to be stabbed on the steel plate. Kuwu made a sound only as a crisp sound, it was shot out by the rebound force. The landed Uchiha Spring raised his eyes and looked over. I saw Uchiha Itachi with blood and tears in his left eye, and an orange-red skull shell had been added to the surface of his body. "Have you used Susanoo so soon? It seems that the guy's condition is getting worse than I thought." Yèyuè Guāng half emptied his eyes and thought to himself. Immediately afterwards, Susanoo, who was originally just a shell of ribs, began to grow arms and a head around it, rapidly forming the first form of the upper body of the skeleton. Immediately in the gap between the bones, a vein with no 6 or 97 numbers like meridians was quickly extended to form the skin, giving rise to the second form of human form. Uchiha Izumi's eyes widened. The cross marks are formed with both hands, and another self is formed by his side. Shadow Clone Technique. It was another series of three-pointed kuwu thrown continuously. Fire Style Extinguish the Fire, Wind Style Hurricane Dance. 2 Uchiha Springs shuttle between the trigeminal kunai. While using Fire Style, use Wind Style to ignite the power of the flame to the strongest. However, the triangular windmill in Uchiha Itachi's pupils spins sharply. The humanoid Susao in the second form blocked the huge shield in his left hand forward. Even the violent flames burned the surrounding ruins into a sea of flames. The orange and red in the middle Susanoo still doesn't move. Because the ancestral hall has been burned to ashes under the combination of wind and fire just now. Therefore Yèyuè Guāng had to jump off the wall. Uchiha Sasuke was even more embarrassed. His current strength is simply not enough to participate in this kind of battle. After retreating quickly, he finally avoided being affected by the attack range of the technique. The 8-foot mirror that is known as absolute defense, isn't it? Even the S-rank ninjutsu can't easily break through that thing. Yèyuè Guāng commented. Even the S-level unicorn in the original book can't break through the defense of the 8-foot mirror. Advertisement. What's more, Uchiha Guāng's combination of ninjutsu just now did not reach the destructive power of the unicorn. This is troublesome. That girl is not a ninja who pays attention to output type. Yèyuè Guāng raised his eyebrows. Although Flying Thunder God is indeed powerful, it is only reflected in speed. In terms of destructive power, it is not enough to rank too high. It doesn't hurt to deal with ordinary ninjas, but for Susanoo who has an 8-foot mirror. The power seemed to be insufficient. The wind and fire combination ninjutsu just now is almost the ninjutsu that Uchiha Guāng now possesses the most destructive power. If you still want to use more powerful ninjutsu, then only. Yèyuè Guāng's heart was filled with an unknown premonition. Sure enough, in the next second, the 3-hooked jade in the Uchiha sect's double pupils turned into a cross dart, spinning sharply. "Hey, girl. Don't mess around. Your eyesight," Yèyuè Guāng shouted. "Master Everbright, this is the last time, please allow me to use it." Uchiha Izumi yelled, and the cross dart in his pupils turned even harder. The silver-gray skeletons of the same color as the Anbu vest began to rise on the surface of Uchiha Spring's body. Susanoo first form. Immediately afterwards, the chakra veins form the skin of the whole body and enter the second state. The long hair on the top of the head has obvious feminine characteristics. Does Sister Quan have it too? Uchiha Sasuke said to himself with a complex expression. He also saw the contents recorded on the stone tablet of Nanga Shrine through Sharingan. Awakening Mangekyo Sharingan's method. Sister Quan was when her mother died. Uchiha Sasuke, as the heir of the original costume escape, looks very boring. But in fact, his temperament is more real than Naruto, who forgives everyone. He knew in his heart that it was impossible for him to persuade Uchiha Guāng to give up revenge. So, can I just watch Nissan die? Well, after all, the brother control attribute broke out. Others don't understand Uchiha Itachi's pain, but Uchiha Sasuke understands it. However, I think of the death of my mother Uchiha Mikoto that night. Urzuzi clenched his fist tightly again. Mommy, what should I do? Is that kid still entangled? No matter what, the big filial son will not survive today anyway. Yèyuè Guāng also noticed the hesitation on the face of the second pillar not far away watching the game, and couldn't help being speechless. Advertisement alas, no way, Uchiha's brotherhood is so special. That night, the gang of old and weak women and children in the basement of Nanga Shrine expressed their ignorance of your brotherhood. I forcibly resisted the severe pain all over the body caused by the side effects of Mangekyo. Uchiha Quan erupted with an angry shout and threw out several flying Thunder God kunai again. That weird angle is not something Uchiha's shuriken can throw. It's just like a flying bird. Is this the ability of your Mangekyo? Uchiha Itachi frowned. In the next instant, the Uchiha spring that controlled Susanoo in the second form suddenly disappeared. Together with her Susanoo. In an instant, the silver-gray Susanoo flashed to the right of the orange-red Susanoo with the word Uchiha Itachi, and he slashed with a knife. Seeing this, Uchiha Itachi quickly controlled the 8-foot mirror on Susanoo's left arm to turn around to resist. But just when the sword and shield are about to collide together. Floating in the air, the three-pronged kunai flying like a bird flies behind the orange-red Susanoo. Silver Ash Susanoo disappeared again, flashing behind Uchiha Itachi. Except the move. Boom, a sturdy sword, without Yata Mirror's resistance, hit the opponent's back hard. Orange-red Susanoo's back was broken into a huge 2.3 gap. Nissan. Urzuzi couldn't help but exclaimed. Spray, this girl, it's messy. Yèyuè Guāng frowned. Using Flying Thunder God to transfer a behemoth like Susanoo will consume chakra drastically. If it is not done well, it will increase the loss of pupil power. In the late stage of the Fourth Ninja War, Namikaze Minato and Senju Tobarama played like Flying Thunder God. An important reason is that they are in the state of Impure World reincarnation. Chakra is unlimited, but Uchiha Izumi is too dangerous to play like this. Night Moon, light, at this time, an indifferent male voice sounded in Yèyuè Guāng's ears one by one. Yèyuè Guāng turned to look. Yo, an unexpected special guest. Isn't this Pen 6 Paths? Chapter 148 How can you be sympathetic to men, second more seeking subscription. Uchiha Spring and Uchiha Itachi, who were in a deathmatch, noticed the arrival of Pen 6 Paths behind Yèyuè Guāng. Also shocked. Especially Uchiha Itachi. Although he had seen Tiandao Pen's body when he first joined the organization, it was the first time that the 6 people acted together. Master Everbright. Uchiha Quan exclaimed. Just leave it alone, do your business. Yèyuè Guāng responded. Uchiha Spring calmed down his inner worries. As a person who often consults Yèyuè Guāng, she knows the strength of the other party. Although the momentum of the 6 orange hairs is amazing, it is impossible for Everbright to lose. Thinking of this, Uchiha Quan once again concentrated his mind and focused on Uchiha Itachi again. And Uchiha Itachi cannot be as calm as Uchiha Sect. Pain appeared here, why on earth? However, facing Uchiha Spring who uses the ultimate Nirvana Flying Thunder God Susanoo. He also has no time to take care of other things. So, what's the matter with Akatsuki's boss on the surface? Yèyuè Guāng asked leisurely. It seems that standing in front of him is not a master between the pinnacle of cage level and the super shadow. It's just a rice seller. 10 Remove the biggest obstacle to the tail beast's capture plan. Tiandao Pain was the first to stand up and said with an indifferent expression. Is it the time to aim at your own order? It makes some sense. But there are also some problems. It's weird. Given your personality, wouldn't it be more appropriate to go to Konoha and arrest people directly? What's more, Conan is also there. Yèyuè Guāng quipped and asked, isn't it better to take advantage of this time to attack Konoha than to deal with the single me? The expression of Tiandao Pain's dead face suddenly changed. Well, if Yahiko was still alive before, he still has some brains. But since Yahiko's death, he has relied too much on Rinnegan's power. I haven't touched my head at all. Rinnegan ran over it all. After being reminded by Yèyuè Guāng, he realized that he had made a huge mistake in an instant. Advertisement, it seems that I was fooled by the earth. Yèyuè Guāng couldn't help laughing. Seeing the expression of Heavenly Dao Pain, he almost guessed what was going on. Run Tu. Tiandao Pain frowned, saying that he didn't know the name. Oh, it's Obito. Yèyuè Guāng said casually. However, Tiandao Pain frowned tighter. Who is Obito? Yèyuè Guāng. Forget it, it must take a lot of time to tell him clearly. Yèyuè Guāng is not that interested either, but Nagato is unlucky enough. I spent my whole life in the flicker of Uchiha Obito. Now the plot of the entire Naruto world has changed so much. He was still being stunned by Run 2's stuff. What, why didn't you tell Yèyuè Guāng the truth to him? Just kidding, how can I, the official Yèyuè, have sympathy for men? Forget it, I glanced at the weather that was completely submerged below the horizon and gradually began to dim. Yèyuè Guāng yawned and said, anyway, you want to get rid of me, I just can't find a reason to let you go, so let's fight. Tiandao Pain frowned tightly, and realized that, Madara, allowed herself to take advantage of this time to deal with Yèyuè Guāng, which might be a conspiracy. But right now, I am afraid that I can't look back. What's more, Rinnegan's strength has brought an invincible record in recent years. Let Nagato have gradually expanded, he doesn't think he will lose. Thinking of this, Tiandao Pain twisted his brows, apparently made up his mind. Summoning technique. Animal Dao Pain took the lead to press his hand on the ground. Summon all kinds of giant summoning beasts such as strange birds, three-headed dogs, rhinos, etc. in one go. Their common feature is that they have Rinnegan and are covered with the same black nails as pens. This is Pain's usual tactics against powerful enemies. First summon the summoning beast to assist. Then Kido was hungry and prepared to absorb ninjutsu. Hell Road will resurrect the dead pen at any time at the end. Heaven is the main attack. The last two are protected on the left and the right of Tiandao. Advertisement. It's really tasteless. Yèyuè Guāng saw this kind of six-paths pen camp, touched it and commented. Obviously, only a pair of eyes are capable, and it is divided into six abruptly, which is simply superfluous. If Nagato can use Rinnegan's six abilities alone, he has already advanced to cage level. Otherwise, I won't be stuck between the peak of cage level and super shadow for so many years. Oh, suddenly, Rinnegan's summoning groaned in the sky, and he slammed into the air for half a circle, smashing it down like a plane crash. Squirt, beasts don't participate in human battles. Yèyuè Guāng didn't even look at it, his fingers moved slightly. Hoo, the endless iron sand rushing out of the ground is like the iron sand version of Gaara Quicksand Waterfall. It turned into a tsunami of iron sand, and swallowed all the beasts summoned by the Beast Road in the blink of an eye. What an attack range, what a destructive power, it is impossible to avoid it. Uchiha Sasuke was frightened by the iron sand tsunami that completely covered the entire field of vision. Release all the chakra from the soles of the feet, and the surface layer of the iron sand tsunami keeps jumping towards the outside. Not far away, two Suzanos, one gray and one orange, also hurriedly grew their feet to escape. 697, however, the second pillar is still tender. The body was rubbed by part of the surging iron sand. Obviously it's just special sand, but Uchiha Sasuke felt that these iron sands were like miniature beasts with grinning teeth. The moment he touched his skin, his flesh was cut apart. Under the gaze of three Tomo Sharingan, Uchiha Sasuke finally saw the true face of these iron sands. Every iron sand that was as small as dust was covered with a thundercoat with endless barbs. This is too exaggerated. As a lightning-style ninja, Uchiha Sasuke was stunned. Look at the raging sea of black iron sand that wants to swallow everything in the field of vision. Difficult. Can it be said that all the iron sand here has this effect added? However, he was shocked just a few tenths of a second. The lightning strikes the iron sand on his body, and it exploded on the surface of the skin. Under the bloody pain, the soles of the feet of the two pillars were about to fall into the sea of black iron sand below. When the filial son sees this, the soul of Brokan erupts. Without further ado, he gave up the defense against Uchiha Spring, and Susanoo, who had grown his feet, ran towards Uchiha Sasuke. At the last moment, catch the opponent. Chapter 149 I will send you brothers on the road together, third more seeking subscription. Nissan, the Urzuzi, who was caught by Susanoo in the second form, looked at Uchiha Itachi among the orange and red giants with complex and moving eyes. Sure enough, my brother was persecuted that night. Zuo, don't interfere. Uchiha Itachi incorporates Uchiha Sasuke into his Susanoo's body. Yes. Uchiha Sasuke at the back hesitated for 2 seconds, and finally nodded to express his understanding. Is this your choice? Sasuke. Opposite the second form, the silver-gray Susanoo who also grew his feet stepped on the black iron sand sea, and the Uchiha Spring Willow inside frowned and looked at the opposite brothers. In the next second, the flying thunder god Kunai scattered all around flew to the vicinity of Silver Ash Susanoo like birds with self-awareness. Okay, I'll send your brothers on the road. Like the golden treasure of the king, Uchiha Spring waved his hand, and those Susanoo who hovered around his Susanoo flew out together. At this time, because of Mangekyo's overuse, Uchiha Azumi's pupils had begun to shed blood and tears. Wang, on the other side, with the endless splitting ability, the three-headed dog Silver summoned by the Beast Road was also swallowed by the endless sea of sand. I don't know how much iron sand was poured into the 7 holes and 6 orifices, plus thunder and lightning. The pain was severe, and there were throbs of pain. Immediately escaped back to the summoning world. The same is true for the surrounding summoning beasts such as rhinos, strange birds, and crabs. Shen Luo Tianzheng, another location in the black iron sand sea. Accompanied by a loud shout, the central government set off a shockwave under cage level that would never be able to resist. Exhaust a spherical vacuum on one side of the sand sea. And pen 6 paths, right in the center of the vacuum ball. It's really not a waste to be the boss of Zhao Ming's face, but... Yèyuè Guāng squinted his eyes at the moment when Shenluo Tianzheng's repulsive force disappeared. Pinch the right hand. The arc passed, and a lightning gun that was more than 2 meters long and contained endless voltage was condensed in the palm of his hand. At this moment, the moment when the power of Shenluo Tianzheng disappeared. Throw it out. The gun of 300 million volts thunder. Advertisement. The 5-second buffer time is too tasteless. After all, you are not the real master of Rinnegan. Yèyuè Guāng said with some sarcasm in his laughter. Hinata's Shenra Tianzhong has no such side effects. After the only explanation, Nagato is the transplanter of Rinnegan. It is the limit to develop these eyes like this. Hungry Kido saw this and quickly blocked the way of heaven. His existence is to make up for the flaws caused by the 5-second gap for heaven. Seeing that Hungry Kido opened his hands face to the thunder spear. Yèyuè Guāng's horns are slightly raised. An electric arc containing the flash of the Holy Spirit formed a connecting line between Yèyuè Guāng's finger and the thunder spear that had been thrown out. In the next instant, the expression of the thunder spear was also coated with a sacred and ethereal light. How about adding this? Yèyuè Guāng smiled faintly. In an instant, Tiandao Pain seemed to realize the arrival of the crisis. At the same time his face changed suddenly, he quickly stepped back. Beast Dao also rushed to the Hungry Kido and pressed his hand to the ground again. Summoning technique. A huge iron statue in the shape of a panda rose from the gunpowder smoke. Want to use that as a protective cover? Yèyuè Guāng observed with his eyes half empty, but Chang Zhao's smile remained unchanged, but that is far from enough. The Uchiha ruins on the southwest border of the Country of Fire are in the forest a few miles away. A group of Konoha Shaoqiang speeding through the forest. Damn it, damn it, damn it, Naruto shouted in anxious sweat. How far is it? Calm down, Naruto, it will be there soon, at most only a few kilometers away. Nara Shikamaru discouraged. Can Sasuke-kun really stand on Uchiha Itachi's side? Although they are brothers, Uchiha Itachi's genocide also has compelling factors, but after all, many Uchiha people really died in his hands. Yamanaka Ino still can't believe it, Haruno Sakura worriedly said. Ms. Kakashi once said that Sasuke worshipped Uchiha Itachi from a very young age. To be honest, I don't think it's impossible. If this happens, the situation will have to develop in the worst direction. Nara Luju, the IQ leader among the crowd, explained. Advertisement, Ms. Quan will not give up revenge on Itachi because of Sasuke. If their brothers join forces to deal with Ms. Quan, then Yèyuè Guāng sir. Nara Shikamaru didn't say the last half of the sentence, but everyone, even Naruto and Inujiya, who were not very bright in their heads, could understand what he meant. At that time, Yèyuè Guāng must make a move, kill the brothers Sasuke and Itachi. Naruto and Haruno Sakura's faces became more anxious. Rumbling. Suddenly, there was a strong earthquake roar from underneath, which made all the Shaoqiangs galloping on the branches of the forest almost fall off. Careful. Seeing that Kurama Yakumo had a winged super, Tenten next to her hurriedly pulled her. Thanks. After thanking Kurama Yakumo, he raised his eyes and looked forward. The expression on his face was stunned for an instant. Not only her, but other Shaoqiang also showed the same expression. In the distance, the dazzling light almost relighted the evening into daylight. In the light, there was also a lot of wild thunder flashing like wild beasts. What it is? Haruno Sakura was surprised. Uncle Guang's thunder. Naruto quickened his pace angrily. Has Wang Nuoruo Jiao already started? The ruins of Uchiha that was bombed into a Tianqing. Looking down from the top, the diameter of the black pit is several miles, and the bottomless black pit is shuddering just to look at it. 2 Suzanos, one gray and one orange, fell on the edge of the sinkhole one after another. It is Uchiha Itachi who controls Susanoo, and on the other side of the Tianqing. Looking at the beast Dao and Hungry Kido who had been blown into the abyss of the Tianqing and disappeared. Tiandao Pain frowned. Hungry Kido can't absorb it? What is going on? Welcome. I don't like to explain, it's time to end it all. A flash of lightning appeared behind him instantly. Tiandao Pain instantly produced a sense of fear from the soul, like a mouse being stared at by a cat. He didn't even dare to look back and attacked without saying a word. Shen Luo Tianzhong, Chapter 150 The Real Thunder, 4th More Seeking Subscription. Shenra Tianzhong waved his hand to release a strong repulsive force, and at the same time, Tiandao Pain turned and looked in the direction of the sound from the rear. Accompanied by the impact of the repulsive force, Yèyuè Guāng flashed behind. Like a mist, at the moment of being impacted by the repulsive force, it turns into an arc disappearing without a trace. Rinnegan's focus suddenly shrank, lightning-style shadow clone. Just kidding, the reaction is so big. Yèyuè Guāng's teasing voice came from the front. At this time, it was in a 5-second vacant buffer period, and Nagato had no time to think about it. Hurry up to control the remaining Shura Dao, the human world, including the Hell Dao responsible for resurrecting other pain in the rear, and guard in front of the heaven. It's useless. The Yèyuè Guāng in front of him was undisciplined, with an unquestionably strong air. When the voice fell, Tiandao Pain instantly felt the terrifying pressure from above his head. Billion volts the real thunder. Rumble, like the hammer of Thor descended on the earth from the god realm. It is more than 5 times stronger than Enel's strongest secret electric shock. Accompanied by the supreme prophecy of the lightning messenger fell. Not to mention that the current strength is only Pain, who is between the peak of Cage level and the super shadow. But 700 people who have not officially stepped into the field of 6 paths have absolutely no means to resist this move. The real thunder came to the world like a divine punishment. Isn't Nagato your favorite to call yourself God? It must be more appropriate to use this trick to help you finish. And aware of the destructive power brought by the distant god's punishment thunder. Uchiha Itachi did not hesitate anymore, and instantly evolved the second form of human Susanoo to the third form of heavy armor. And he blocked the Yata mirror shield in front of him. Needless to say, Uchiha sprang naturally. The pupil power of Mangekyo Sharingan was activated for the first time, and the trigeminal kunai was thrown to the height of almost submerged into the clouds with the power of mind to dodge. The real thunder came, making the whole world seem to be smashed by Thor's sanction hammer. The whole earth was lifted up. Between the heaven and the earth, there is nothing else except the endless thunderlight. Advertisement under 6 paths, absolutely no one can resist this. Only Uchiha Itachi's Yata mirror, Uchiha Spring's Flying Thunder God, or Runtu's Kamui. This kind of moves with special abilities can allow the operator to base ED down. And the Xiaoqiangs who are miles away, it can be said to be quite lucky. Although he has rushed to a location very close to the ruins. But finally did not enter the real scope of thunder. But even so, the violent aftermath, mixed with hurricanes of electric current, still blows them out one by one. Under the loud noise, the Xiaoqiangs couldn't open their eyes to see what was going on in front of them. They can only feel sawdust, stones and other things constantly hitting themselves. And his whole body, like a kite scattered in the restricted wind, kept flying backwards. Yeah, suddenly, Haruno Sakura let out a scream. The overflowing thunder current hit her. The whole person was paralyzed by electricity and could not move at the same time. Another huge rock comparable to a house hit her, and she was about to be involved in the tornado hurricane that made heaven and earth eclipse. Little Sakura, the only one of all Xiaoqiang who could barely open his eyes, Naruto yelled out loud. Suddenly I thought that I had practiced before, but I still couldn't fully master the master's trick. Damn it. I can only take a risk. Accompanied by a loud roar from Naruto. Blood-red bubbles overflowed from the surface of his skin and quickly turned into a blood coat. That's Jinchuriki's. The other Xiaoqiang reluctantly lowered his eyes, and his expression suddenly changed when he saw Naruto's appearance. Right now Kirigakure gathered 5 Jinchuriki, and except for Naruto, all are the perfect Jinchuriki who can perfectly control the power of the tail beast. Not to mention, many of them had seen Naruto use this trick in the Chunin exam 3 years ago. Naruto, who had condensed the coat of the tail beast, waved his hand suddenly. The arms of the 9 tails coat attached to the surface of the skin suddenly stretched like Luffy's rubber. Finally, Haruno Sakura, who was about to be submerged in the thunderous tornado, was also pulled back. Advertisement within 10 miles of the Uchiha ruins. Even in the evening, the disaster struck that day and the earth trembled. Let the villagers in the small villages on the southern border of the country of fire shiver. The roar that came from time to time made them agitated and quickly pressed their ears. Many people directly retracted into the bed, not daring to watch. And at the same time, not far from the small village, in a cave where wild animals inhabit. A drop of cold sweat fell on the side of the skinny Nagato, gritted his teeth, and barely popped out a word from the gap. I was beaten badly, Nagato. Just as Nagato lowered his head and muttered to himself, the space in front of him showed Uzumaki like whirling waves. Seeing those who came, I thought of what Yèyuè Guāng said to himself before the battle. Nagato's sense of alertness in his heart has been raised to the extreme, and the cold voice is cold. What do you want to do? Madara. The defeat was faster than I thought. One reason is that Yèyuè Guāng's strength has reached this level, and the other reason is that you haven't exerted the power of these eyes at all, Nagato. Uchiha Obito's tone was full of sarcasm and contempt. What the hell do you mean? At this time, Nagato already felt a strong ominous premonition. It's nothing, just want you to return my eyes to me. Uchiha Obito strolled towards each other. Nagato's expression suddenly changed, and the instrument under him suddenly launched the chakra black stick. This instrument is specially built to shoot Nagato with a black stick made by Rinnegan like kunai. However, the flying black stick seemed to penetrate the air, passing through Uchiha Obito's body. Lost Conan's asylum, and now even Pen 6 Paths is gone. Do you think your half-hearted Rinnegan can do anything to me, Nagato? Uchiha Obito's tone was full of contempt. At this moment, Nagato's eyes suddenly shrank, and he was fully aware of it. The guy, Madara, asked to move the base, arbitrarily bewitching himself to find Yèyuè Guāng to fight. Everything is to weaken one's own strength, so as to take Rinnegan. Don't try to succeed, Nagato shouted heartbreakingly. However, with his current appearance, no matter how you look at it, it's incompetent and furious. The expression behind Uchiha Obito's mask smiled even more brazenly. Chapter 151 The late brother controls 2 pillars, 5th more seeking subscription. In the cave, a heart-piercing cry of pain penetrated the mountain wall. In the chakra instrument, only the skinny Nagato, who was originally thin, was hanging his head weakly at this moment. I don't know whether it is dead or alive, and Uchiha Obito waved the pair of bloody Rinnegan in his palms twice and sneered. In this way, the key to realize the final plan of the Moon Eye will be there. The familiar pitcher plant emerged from the ground. Black Zetsu squinted his eyes, and his always hoarse voice was slightly cold at this time. You broke Madara's plan, Obito. It is also rare for white Zetsu to curb the virtues of the daily hippie smiling face, and said. Without Nagato's revolving heaven technique, how do you plan to resurrect Madara? If you don't do this, the infinite Tsukuyomi project will never be completed. Uchiha Obito said coldly. After that, he was preparing to play Kamui's buggery. As soon as I was about to leave, I thought of something and asked. By the way, how is the battle going over there? Uchiha Izumi and Itachi's battle. Both black and white Chuangju's expressions were volatile. But after hearing Uchiha Obito's question, White Zetsu hesitated for a while still replied. Both lose and lose. Uchiha Spring, who owns Flying Thunder God Susanoo and Yada Mirror, both have the same conditions. However, to say who will die in this battle, it is definitely Itachi. Black Zetsu also said, that guy was already ill and blind, and Yèyuè Guāng was on the scene. This is exactly a battle that was doomed at the beginning of the game. After just finishing talking, Black Zetsu suddenly changed his head and said. But that's it, but what? Uchiha Obito asked. Uchiha Sasuke's situation is worrying. That guy seems to be on Itachi's side, but he is still indecisive. Hearing Black Zetsu's answer, Wen Tu, who is good at playing with people's hearts, suddenly came up with an interesting idea and said. White Zetsu, go and do something for me. After confessing the task, Uchiha Obito mobilized Kamui to run away. In the cave, there are only black and white Chuangju, and Nagato who does not know whether it is dead or alive. White Zetsu. Sure enough, as you predicted, the guy Obito never thought of resurrecting Madara when he was a freshman. Black Zetsu. Huh, he is really a kid who grows up and gets more cunning. Fortunately, we are ready to recruit. Then what should I do next? White Zetsu asked again. Advertisement. After thinking about it for a moment, Black Zetsu responded. For the time being, do what the guy said, you send an avatar to complete the things that Obito boy confessed, although I don't think it will succeed. Ruins of Uchiha. After all the hardships, the Xiaoqiangs finally arrived here. It has long been impossible to see the remnants of a trace, everything that comes into view, but all the protrusions have disappeared. Everything in the field of vision is full of sores, and in the center, there is a super sinkhole several miles in diameter. And all around, there are countless small and large pits. Haruno Sakura murmured, is this something that humans can do? Nara Shikamaru. I have seen the Chunin exam 3 years ago, but now it is even more exaggerated. Wow. As soon as the voice fell, the pouring rain fell sharply and washed over the broken ground. The rain washed over the high-temperature land where the thunder and lightning passed, and steam began to rise, but it was immediately suppressed by a larger amount of rain. 10 o'clock direction. Hyuga Neji, who turned on by Kugan, suddenly shouted. When the other Xiaoqiang heard the words, he turned his head and looked in the direction he said. Their eyes are naturally not as scary as Byakugan, but still vaguely able to see 2 shadows of one gray and one orange. Go! Naruto didn't hesitate, kicked and rushed. Other Xiaoqiang faced the torrential rain and followed close behind. Yada Mirror is destroyed. Uchiha Itachi looked at the shattered shield in Susanoo's left hand with complicated eyes. I didn't expect it to be so exaggerated. Boom! The silver-gray Susanoo on the opposite side finally pierced the orange-red Susanoo. The long stabbing sword reached Uchiha Itachi's throat. Facing the washing of the heavy rain, Uchiha Izumi coldly said with a cross-dart appearing in his pupils. The victory is divided. The blood on their faces was washed away by the rainstorm. But the pupils that gradually lose focus are enough for outsiders to guess how much the eyesight of these two people has ruined. Yèyuè Guāng, who was watching the game from the side, frowned and thought. The girl, go back with a pair of 1000-degree glasses, I'm afraid they won't be enough. -0 seeking flowers. In this way, everything will be understood. Advertisement. Just when Uchiha Izumi was about to control himself, Susanoo's bayonet penetrated Uchiha Itachi's whole body. Sister Quan. Uchiha Sasuke rushed up suddenly and stopped between Susa bayonet and Uchiha Itachi. Do you want to die with this sinner too? The glasses on the bridge of Uchiha Spring's tall nose are long gone, but the indifference and murderous intent revealed in the eyes are more profound and solemn in the past. Nissan was also forced. Urzuzi pleaded in tears. The rain mixed with the tears falling from the eyes. It just so happened that Xiaoqiang finally arrived. Seeing the pitiful appearance of Urzuzi, Naruto, Sensei the Third's base friend, and Haruno Sakura, the strongest female licking dog, immediately wanted to help. However, it has just taken a half step. The two found their feet below the ankles, deeply wrapped in endless iron sand. The soles of the feet seemed to be rooted and immobile. Uncle Guāng, Master Yèyuè Guāng. The expressions of the two changed suddenly, and they looked at each other incredibly. No intervention. Yèyuè Guāng only responded indifferently to these 4 words. I don't care whether he was active or forced. I have said it once. I don't think so much. I only know that he killed my mother. Uchiha Izumi controlled the Susa bayonet, put the tip of the knife on Uchiha Sasuke's forehead, and said coldly. This is the real last time. Sasuke, get out of the way, otherwise, I'll kill you. Urzuzi's eyes kept tearing. Perhaps, being killed with Nissan here will be my best ending. Instead of living alone in this world in the future, it's better to go to that world with my brother like this and goodbye to mom and dad. Okay, I get it, I will send your brothers on the road. Seeing that Uchiha Sasuke didn't mean to move away, Uchiha Izumi stabbed the bayonet severely. Sasuke. Sasuke-kun. Naruto and Haruno Sakura screamed out of voice. Farewell, second pillar. Yèyuè Guāng said lightly. He doesn't have any special feelings for each other. No matter what, it doesn't matter. Again, Chapter 152 Don't use Kamui to pretend to be a fake smelling soil. 6th More seeking subscription. Spring. Seeing that Uchiha Izumi really planned to take Sasuke's life, Uchiha Itachi, who was the best Brokon, also realized. Once a childhood sweetheart, now he really hates himself and vowed not to give up if he didn't take his own life. With the Brokon soul erupting, Uchiha Itachi once again planned to stimulate the exhausted chakra in his body. Prepare to use Susanoo to resist. It's miserable, Itachi. At this time, a voice suddenly appeared. Forcibly stopped Uchiha Izumi's sword swing. Turning his head and looking around, a mysterious person wearing a mask, wearing a black uniform with red clouds like Uchiha Itachi, walked faintly. A cough. Cough cough cough. Uchiha Itachi, who forcibly urged chakra who had already bottomed out, had a pale face. Suddenly fell to his knees, covering his mouth and vomiting blood. Nissan. 700. Uchiha Sasuke rushed towards him anxiously and held the opponent. Uchiha Obito said lightly, he is already terminally ill. Coupled with the fight, his body has reached its limit and he can't save his life. There was an incredible color in Uchiha Sasuke's eyes. Rock Lee exclaimed, an Akatsuki member again. It's been a long time, Yèyuè Guāng. Uchiha Obito turned to look at Yèyuè Guāng. Come on, don't pretend. However, what is unexpected is that Yèyuè Guāng not only did not split the opponent in half with a flash of light, but said in an extremely disgusting tone. I didn't use Kamui to pretend to be forced to install Runtu, you are fooling ghosts. Not to mention that as long as you perceive it a little bit, you can perceive that the smell of soil in front of you is completely different from the original one. Don't forget, every time that Runtu shows up, he has to show off a wave of Kamui. So that others believe that he is real Uchiha Madara. However, it was useless for Kamui to show up this time, and he still couldn't see such a big flaw. That would really humiliate people's IQ. The Uchiha Obito, in front of him was helpless. The body squirmed extremely quickly and turned back to its original shape. It was a clone of White Zetsu with only half of his body. Advertisement all Konoha Xiaoqiang's expressions changed suddenly. This, what is this? After the shock, the Xiaoqiangs instinctively made preparations. Anyway, the freak in front of him is indeed a member of Akatsuki's organization, that is, the enemy hasn't run away. Calm down, you little ones, haven't you seen your boss and didn't do it? White Zetsu avatars and waved his hands, signaling Xiaoqiang not to mess around. Then he looked at Yèyuè Guāng again and asked, since you didn't make a move, it means you want to hear what I have to say? Within a radius of 10 miles, I didn't feel the breath of living creatures other than those present. Yèyuè Guāng looked up at the endless night and said with a strange smile. That guy Nagato is dead, right? The White Zetsu avatar blinked twice and said unbelievably. Even Nagato knows? Is it Conan that leaked the secret? But just ask this question. The White Zetsu avatar shook his head again, forget it, it doesn't matter anyway. Immediately, White Zetsu reached out his hand to the second pillar holding Uchiha Rong and said. I have recruited Uchiha Sasuke by the order of Madara-sama. As soon as this is said, let alone the Xiaoqiangs. Even the half-dead Uchiha Itachi showed incredible color. Let Sasuke join Shao? Is this white freak crazy like plasticine? White Zetsu avatar smiled and said again. Sasuke-kun, Itachi can't be saved anymore, let alone Tsunade. Even if Senju Hashirama reborn is impossible, but we know there is a way to keep you with him, and it also includes your dead parents and clansmen, inside. What did you say? Urzuzi's eyes widened in disbelief. At the same time, he didn't even notice it. At this time, his Sharingan has changed. Ah, Yèyuè Guāng Lu Kai contemptuously laughs. He has already guessed what White Zetsu and Runtu behind White Zetsu are making. But Yèyuè Guāng did not stop, because he also wanted to see what kind of decision Urzuzi would make after listening to this invitation. We know, we are preparing to carry out an ambitious plan that can make people all over the world fall into a giant illusion. Advertisement seeing that Yèyuè Guāng still had no intention of making a move, the White Zetsu clone was relieved a lot, and continued. Create a world without war, a world without hatred, a world with only peace and only things of love. In that world, everyone can realize the farthest ideal in their dreams, the dead can be resurrected, and the dark past can rush in. 0. White Zetsu avatar smiled and said, how about, Sasuke-kun, join us, don't you want to be with your parents and dear brother in another world? What a joke. As the reincarnated Naruto of Ashura, who has been a virgin and stunned for generations, he immediately furiously said. This is just turning people around the world into puppets, don't listen to them, Sasuke. Naruto turned his head angrily and looked at Uchiha Sasuke. However, what he saw next was Uchiha Sasuke with a blank face, but at the same time with a look of eagerness. To be honest, if it weren't for the later period of the original work, Senju Hashirama, the successor of the mouth escaped second only to Naruto, limped the 2 pillars with his mouth. This kid might really agree with Runtu's project Tsuki no Mi. The reason why Uchiha Obito repeatedly assisted the second pillar in the later period is probably also the reason. It's just that I didn't expect that at the last minute, besides Naruto, there was an owner of mouth escape blood succession boundary. But right now, Urzuzi's condition is more serious than the original. Uchiha Itachi can no longer be saved, and he had learned the truth of Uchiha's extermination as early as 3 years ago. For 3 whole years, every day was spent in extreme entanglement and struggle. Uchiha Itachi is about to die. In such a desperate mood, he will pin his hopes on infinite Tsukuyomi. It's not a strange thing about 2.3 at all. Yes, this is indeed an escape from reality. But for him, there is no better choice than escape from reality. It seems that you are ready to agree, then you can tell me here, Urzu. Seeing Uchiha Sasuke's longing look, Yèyuè Guāng has already guessed his mind and is ready to take action directly to help him end this painful life. Although Yèyuè Guāng didn't pay attention to the second pillar. But he was not stupid enough to let himself be an enemy. Since this is your choice, then I am here to send you to the west. Just when Yèyuè Guāng was about to send the 2 pillars directly on the road, an unexpected person spoke up. Don't listen to him, Sasuke. The one who speaks is actually a filial son who has only 1 breath left. Chapter 153 Sasuke, this is my last Tsukuyomi, please accept it, first more seeking subscription. The face of Uchiha Itachi, who was nearly dead, was also full of shock. He has been in the Shao organization for so many years, and only knows that Pain's purpose is to collect tail beasts and make ultimate weapons. In order to achieve the purpose of controlling the world. It was the first time he heard of the infinite Tsukuyomi plan. Seeing Uchiha Sasuke's expression, Uchiha Wrong had already guessed that he was already tempted by the plan. Yes, my parents were killed by my most beloved brother. And the elder brother was threatened again, at least Urzuzi thought so. And now, the last relatives will be killed by the last clansman. Under such tremendous pain, Urzuzi almost lost the courage to live. At this moment, suddenly there was an infinite Tsukuyomi plan before him. There is really no reason to refuse, but one thing that Uchiha Sasuke overlooked. Will Yèyuè Guāng, who has been watching the show, sit back and watch him fall into Akatsuki's arms? Whether or not Uchiha Itachi cares about the fact that Project Tsuki no Mi will turn the world's humans into puppets, only he knows. But he would never allow his brother to die here. Although his Uchiha Itachi has a clear brain circuit, he is not an idiot. How could he not see that Yèyuè Guāng is ready to send Sasuke to the west? Ahem. After speaking, Uchiha Itachi coughed again and fell on his knees to vomit blood. Nissan. Uchiha Sasuke was so scared that he ran back to assist the opponent. Sasuke, absolutely can't agree to them, that plan. Uchiha Itachi said with difficulty. His eyes became weaker and weaker due to the passing of vitality. But Nissan, if even you die, Uchiha Sasuke couldn't cry. Uchiha Itachi made a last breath, in the last few minutes of life. He is experiencing a huge entanglement in his heart. There are 2 paths before his eyes. Use distinguished heavenly gods to change Sasuke's thinking and erase his feelings. In this way, although Sasuke's future cannot proceed as he evolved. Advertisement, but at least 1 life can be saved. You are too self-righteous, thinking you are qualified to decide the fate of others? Suddenly, what Uchiha Izumi said to him in the Country of Water 3 years ago echoed in Uchiha Itachi's mind. Thinking of this, Uchiha Itachi's expression stagnated and a second thought came up. Sasuke, do you want to leave this world? Do you really, ahem, longing for the dream world? While coughing up blood, Uchiha Itachi asked, holding back the intense pain rushing from his body. Uchiha Sasuke kept crying, and finally nodded in accordance with his inner desire. Unlike the original, Konoha is headed by Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. It was cleaned up as early as 3 years ago. He also no longer has the sole goal of revenge in the original book. At the same time, it hasn't been brainwashed by Senju Hashirama, who is second only to Naruto. If Uchiha Itachi died, he would no longer find the meaning of survival. Seeing Uchiha Sasuke nodded, Uchiha Itachi's expression also seemed to be determined. Immediately afterwards, I saw Uchiha Itachi's left eye, which once again turned into a Mitsubishi dart. Yugai, what do you want to do to Sasuke? Naruto, a good friend of Sansei 3, exclaimed excitedly. Don't worry, no matter who the dead Brokan shoots, he won't shoot the second pillar. Yèyuè Guāng vaguely guessed what the filial son wanted to do, and he did not stop him either. Itachi, you actually chose to do this. The white Zetsu clone not far away frowned and guessed what Uchiha Itachi wanted to do. Sasuke, I have always wanted to manipulate your destiny by writing the signposts on the road through illusions, but this time, it is the path you chose yourself and the last thing I give you. Speaking of this, Uchiha Itachi's left eye, Mangekyo, began to release his pupil power. Sasuke. This is my last Tsukuyomi. Accept it. Hitomi's invasion made Uchiha Sasuke just feel the sky spinning. The surrounding scene seemed to be traveling through time and space, going backwards so fast that I couldn't see what was going on at all. Sasuke. Sasuke. Urzuzi didn't know how long it had been. When his consciousness recovered, I only saw a familiar face, gently leaning in front of me, and said, Really, why are you still sleeping in bed on such an important day? Get up quickly, Dad and Nissan are ready to go. Mom. Uchiha Sasuke looked at the face of the young woman who was calling him, and whispered in disbelief. Advertisement, hurry up and have breakfast. Today is the day when your father is promoted to Hokage. Our family is going to cheer for Dad together. Uchiha Mikoto walked out of the bedroom with a big smile. Dad? When Hokage? The immense joy instantly filled Uchiha Sasuke's heart. Aside from anything else, he rushed out of the bed. when wearing a uniform with the Uchiha Flame Danzo logo. Facing the young body in the mirror, only about 3 years old. Suddenly, Uchiha Sasuke's brain was in a trance. Did you forget something? Sasuke, haven't changed clothes yet? Come and have breakfast? Outside the house 700, brother Uchiha Itachi's gentle and tender voice came. Uchiha Sasuke heard the words and quickly pressed the last trace of confusion to the bottom of his heart. Pushing the door to see the family sitting around the dining table, they smiled heartily. I am so happy, at the same time, in the real world. When I saw Uchiha Sasuke who collapsed to the ground and fell into a deep lethargy. Naruto and Haruno Sakura exclaimed in silence, Sasuke. What did you do to Sasuke-kun? Uchiha Itachi did not answer. Perhaps this is the best ending for Sasuke. Is this Sasuke's own wish, or is it his own self-willing again? I can't explain it clearly, but Uchiha Itachi knows that now, it can finally be broken. Puff, hiss. The silver-gray Susa bayonet penetrated Uchiha Itachi's body from behind. Thank you, Quan. Uchiha Itachi turned his head hard with a mouthful of blood. He knew that just now he still had room and time to use the last Tsukuyomi on Sasuke. It's because of Uchiha Spring's last hidden heart. Otherwise, she can use this knife to stab her brothers together into skewers. Chapter 154 Licking a Dog Can't Die, second more seeking subscription. This mess will actually end in this way when I saw the dutiful son who was stabbed into meat skewers and the second pillar who fell into the world of Tsukuyomi. What do you say about Yèyuè Guāng's emotions? Of course it is impossible to be sad. He has no special feelings for this brother-controlled Brokon combination. To say happy, but it can't be said that even if these two goods are dead, they will not bring any benefits to themselves. Seeing this ending, I can only say that Yèyuè Guāng felt the experience of the impermanence of the world. This is very rare for him as a traverser. Even as a traverser, how could it be possible that Uchiha Itachi died in the hands of the childhood sweetheart Uchiha Spring? Can anyone who crosses think of Indra reincarnated on the second pillar as a second disease and an ancestral runaway from the village, pretending to escape the blood and continue the boundary? The competition will end in this way. After all, Tsukuyomi closed the target in the illusion world created by the caster. It can also achieve the effect of infinite Tsukuyomi. It just can't be exaggerated to use it on the entire planet at once. It is still possible to trap a single goal in the world of illusion. Remember that in the original book, Uchiha Izumi lived a false perfect life in the world of Tsukuyomi with filial sons? Who would have thought that this ending would actually fall on the head of the second pillar now? But even Yèyuè Guāng had to admit it. For the second pillar, this may be the best ending. The silver-gray Susanoo faded away. Uchiha Itachi, who was strung on the Susa bayonet, also had a huge blood hole in front of Yu Hung, and fell heavily next to Uchiha Sasuke who was lying on the ground. And Uchiha Izumi was about to fall to the ground as he lost his strength. Yèyuè Guāng's sturdy arms stretched out suddenly, hugging the slender princess in his arms. Eyes are at their limit. Noting the bloodstains on the corners of Uchiha Spring's eyes, Yèyuè Guāng thought to himself. I didn't expect things to turn out like this in the end. The white Zetsu avatar on the opposite side scratched his head, looked at Yèyuè Guāng and asked. Are you going to kill me? There was no panic in the tone. What am I doing when I kill an egg with the clone I don't have? But, help me send a message to run to. Yèyuè Guāng said with a smile but a smile. Licking a dog will not kill you. What is licking a dog? Advertisement. The white Zetsu avatar scratched his head, but still remembered these words in his heart, sneaking back to the ground again, ready to convey the news to the body. Yèyuè Guāng immediately released the iron sand that bound Naruto and Haruno Sakura's feet. After the two got rid of their shackles, Uchiha Sasuke, who passed out without a word, rushed to the left and right, calling out again and again. Sasuke! Sasuke! Wake up, what's wrong with you? Sasuke-kun! Sasuke-kun! Ignoring the Baishui trio, Yèyuè Guāng ordered the remaining Xiaoqiang. Move people back together with Uchiha Itachi. At the same time, Yèyuè Guāng thought. The sight and hearing of the attached radio waves enveloped an area of tens of miles in a radius. A few seconds later, Yèyuè Guāng again ordered, Shao Li, in the cave next to the small village 10 kilometers to the south, go get the corpse out there. Yes. Although I don't know what the situation is, Rock Lee hurriedly ran in the direction that Yèyuè Guāng said. Sasuke's breath is very stable, and he is not life-threatening. Yamanaka Ino probed Uchiha Sasuke's nose and mouth, and then asked Yèyuè Guāng for instructions. Everbright, what did Uchiha Itachi do to Sasuke before he died? It's very troublesome to explain, you just need to know that this is the best ending for the second pillar, that's enough. Yèyuè Guāng was too lazy to bother with these little ghosts. Countless unexpected things really happened today. I made myself a little big head. Uncle Guāng, can't you wake up Sasuke? Naruto couldn't bear to say, he won't want to wake up. Yèyuè Guāng answered calmly, and while carrying Uchiha Spring on his back, he smiled maliciously. But I can give you the job of taking care of him, and you have to hug him to sleep every night. Naruto, who was still crying, suddenly froze in place. Other Xiaoqiang had a damn expression on his face. The brain fills up the picture of Naruto holding Uchiha Sasuke who has fallen asleep at night. Vomit. However, for some reason, a blush suddenly appeared on Naruto's face. Hey, How come you feel that this kid is still a little excited? A cave under the Shenwubi Bridge. Uchiha Obito sits on a dead wood chair that once belonged to Uchiha Madara. Advertisement: the orange-red Uzumaki mask on his original face has been removed, and a bandage is wrapped around his left eye. Obviously, he has completed the transplant of Rinnegan. When I saw a bundle of pitcher plants through the wall and into the house. Uchiha Obito asked Sharingan, who opened his right eye. How is it going? Itachi was killed by Uchiha Izumi, and Itachi used Tsukuyomi on Sasuke before he died, trapping him in Tsukuyomi's world. White Zetsu replied. I didn't expect the grievances of the 3 Uchiha survivors to end in this way. Black Zetsu didn't care much about the 3 Uchihas, focused on Uchiha Obito, and asked. Is only one eye transplanted? That way you can use Rinnegan's power and it won't be much better than Nagato. Humph, enough. Uchiha Obito said coldly, he still knows himself. It takes a lot of time to want the power of Master Rinnegan. Now there is no such idle time. What's more, Kamui's ability has been used for so many years. I have already used this trick to perfection. For the sake of Rinnegan's abilities, there is no need to abandon the effect. Jiao, S. The fruit can be called the bud-level god-level Kamui. What's next? What do you want? After a brief silence, Black Zetsu asked again. Let the remaining members of the organization wait and do not act rashly. Uchiha Obito covered his bandaged left eye and said in a deep voice. Wait until I get acquainted with the power of this eye. Black and White Shuangju was about to leave and conveyed Uchiha Obito's meaning to the remaining Akatsuki members who were still alive. Suddenly, White Zetsu remembered something and half turned his head and said. By the way, Yèyuè Guāng asked me to convey a word to you. Uchiha Obito, who bowed his head to recuperate, frowned. He said, licking a dog won't kill you. White Zetsu returned the original words. Uchiha Obito's eyebrows are twisted together, just like the right half of his face. Licking the dog? What do you mean? Anyway, instinctive feeling is not a good thing. Chapter 155 The Truth About Chi Technique, 3rd More Seeking Subscription. After parting from Uchiha Obito in the Shenwubi cave, Black and White Shuangju left, ready to follow the other party's order to inform Akatsuki's next course of action to the members of the organization who are still alive. But Uchiha Obito did not know, because his behavior has clearly deviated from the planned route Uchiha Madara left behind during his lifetime. Black and White must also act. I'll notify the remaining members of the organization and leave it to you to do it. Black Zetsu said in a deep voice. White Zetsu grinned. I have sent a large number of clones to do it, but now there is one very important thing, right? The other Rinnegan, right? I don't know where Obito hid it, but it will take some time for him to get used to Rinnegan. It is not difficult to find it in this gap. Black Zetsu replied after a moment of thought. While saying this, Black Zetsu secretly said in his heart. Don't think that everything is within your expectations, Obito, whether it is you and Madara, are just a drop in the history of the ninja world that I have created, and Yèyuè Guāng is no exception. When Yèyuè Guāng carried Uchiha Spring on his back, the Shaoqiangs returned to Konoha with Uchiha Sasuke, who had fallen asleep in the world of Tsukuyomi, the dead Uchiha Itachi, and Nagato. It is early morning. Master Everbright, this is. In place of 10,000 years, the new goalkeeper of the 700-0 goalkeeper gang ZT and Shenyue Izumo, the new goalkeeper in Daiwahi see Yèyuè Guāng who led such a big vote to return late at night. Can't help showing a different color. And Kakashi waited at Konoha gate after Naruto and the others set off. Seeing the disciples return, he hurriedly moved closer. Save Uchiha Itachi and Nagato, and, is Tsunade there? Yèyuè Guāng asked. And it's the same, hurry up Kaido. It's a coincidence, Lord Everbright, a few hours after you left yesterday, Lord Tsunade came back. Since the group of elders headed by Sarutobi Hiruzen was completely destroyed. Tsunade does not exclude Konoha. Every few months, he will return to Konoha for a period of time. Ino, help me take the spring to Tsunade's care. Naruto followed me with Erzu, and Kakashi told the ninjas in the village to transfer the villagers to the shelter, and called Hinata to come over. Yèyuè Guāng handed the unconscious Uchiha Spring to Yamanaka Ino's hands, and immediately picked up his finger against Naruto, who was carrying Uchiha Sasuke, who was trapped in the world of Tsukuyomi, and motioned for him to follow. Advertisement. Why is there only Naruto? Haruno Sakura roughly guessed that Yèyuè Guāng asked Naruto to take Sasuke over, and it was probably related to Sasuke. As Erzuzi's #1 female licking dog, she said that she could not be ignored. Yèyuè Guāng was too lazy to answer her, and strode out of the village. Only indifferently spit out a short sentence, don't be stunned, numb. Kakashi and many Shaoqiang looked at each other, and then began to act according to Yèyuè Guāng's meaning. This is the shrine of the Uzumaki clan? In the suburbs a few miles away from Konoha village. Kakashi asked the ninjas of Konoha village to temporarily transfer the villagers to the refuge according to the order of the Night Moonlight. Hinata, 5th Hokage, is here. The shrine of the Uzumaki clan is said to be the same as the Nanga shrine of Uchiha, which was passed down from the Sengoku era. Kakashi knew about this place because 16 years ago, his teacher Uzumaki Kushina gave birth to Naruto. It was here. Eduo-san, what is it now? In the lobby of the shrine, Uchiha Sasuke, who was lying on the floor in the center of the shrine with alert eyes, fell asleep deeply, and Hinata turned his gaze to Yèyuè Guāng on the other side, tilted his head and asked with incomprehension. Hinata, do you remember the reason why the old thing Otsutsuki Hamura has lived for thousands of years? Yèyuè Guāng asked suddenly. Hinata's pretty face was taken aback, and she recalled dreaming back to the moon 3 years ago. After a few seconds, Hinata Kaido. At the time, Hamura-senpai said it was a special type of ninjutsu unique to their clan and was called a knife. It is really disgusting to leave chakra before death, like a parasite on others, and even achieve the goal of resurrection in time. Yèyuè Guāng mocked, the legendary sage of 6 paths is not a good thing, Basidi. Upon hearing Yèyuè Guāng's words, the other two people present, Naruto and Kakashi, suddenly felt that Monk Zhang was puzzled. What are these father and daughter talking about? Kakashi asked puzzledly. Master Everbright, you and Master 5th Hokage just talked about the ninjutsu and sage of 6 paths, what exactly are they? It's too troublesome to explain, I don't know what will happen next. Yèyuè Guāng gave a weird smile, then said to Hinata. Hinata, in the ancient book left by the guy Otsutsuki Hamura on the moon, is there a record of how to extract the parasites from the host's body? Hinata shook his head, Kaido. Advertisement. Those ancient books only record that the technique is that when the operator is about to die, he will possess the last chakra in another person's body. While retaining his own consciousness, he can occupy the other person's body after a long period of time to achieve resurrection. Purpose, and the host will have some of the ability of the parasite. After a short pause, Hinata apologized. Sorry, Oduo-san, there is no record of how to force the parasites out. It's okay, I have found it. Yèyuè Guāng rubbed Hinata's small head for comfort. The aura on his body changed drastically. The holy light gushing from the body seems to turn this early morning and late night into day. The electric current that bloomed with white light coiled around the body like a deity's costume. Demigod form. Well, what is going on with this power? Kakashi and Naruto, who saw Yèyuè Guāng's posture for the first time, couldn't help but widen their eyes. Chi technique, in the final analysis, is in the form of chakra body, parasitic on Chi's body, and the principle of Orochimaru's curse imprint is very similar. Yèyuè Guāng in the demigod form raised his finger. Naruto, lie down next to the second pillar. Naruto was taken aback, still lying obediently on the other side of Uchiha Sasuke. Looking slantingly at the two pillars close at hand, his face was a little red. Forcing out the products that are not their own in the two of them, it is easy for me in this state. In an instant, Yèyuè Guāng suddenly patted the moon chambers of the reincarnated twins of Ashura Indra lying on the floor with both hands. There was no particular reaction from the second pillar in the world of Tsukuyomi. It's just that his body smashed like a lightning strike. But Naruto's face changed drastically, his eyes turned white and almost fainted. The ever-bright Kakashi was shocked. I just wanted to ask Yèyuè Guāng what time he was doing. The two deep and mysterious, like chakra and the floating body of the soul, began to rise from the bodies of the two, and gradually merged into one in the mid-air of the shrine lobby, and gradually become humanoid. Then, what is that? Naruto grabbed his heart and climbed up from the ground, asking in astonishment.